Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, we don't have an opening for the Sidetrack show.
No,
we're fucking
shit happen?
I don't know.
Oh, you know what it was? Because I nearly fucking spilled that drink. So this is all in a different spot.
Tom is just like a walking disaster. Like it's always like 2 minutes before the show's gonna start, and he comes in and he's like knocking the table over. His drink goes flying. He did catch it though.
I caught that drink in midair.
He was like,
and only spilled a few ice cubes. It was on top of this thing, started tilting, and I didn't even think about it. It just happened. It's so fucking fast. It's
lightning reflex.
Whatever. It's the unconscious that does it. Whatever does poltergeist does that.
You should try and like catch some flies with chopsticks.
No, you can't try it. It just has to happen.
Well, I'm not saying that you have to like try it. You could just we could have some chopsticks around.
Yeah.
And then if it so happened that a housefly kind of came on the scene.
It's the same shit. Look, man, if Yoda saw that shit, he goes, "Just the force of flow." Yeah, that's the fucking Yoda would say.
Baby Yoda's saying that right now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Grogu, he's talking to your back.
Fucking. One of our patrons, Sandra, she's making up new names every day. She's this sexy little skitty, slutty German girl. Runs around in a tube top. Eating peanut butter. Because I told her about peanut butter, so now she's like the peanut butter ambassador to Germany. And now she calls herself, what's it? Sandra?
Not just an empty boob.
Not just the empty boob. Because last time I got loaded and started talking about boobs, she loves that shit. A lot of girls love that shit. And then I was talking about that one British actress who was David Bowie's ex-girlfriend. She was also like a singer and a dancer and a recording artist, and she worked at a recording studio. And I said, see, she had a fucking awesome she had an awesome rack, and she was in that movie, but the people that time forgot. And I said she had a fucking great rack, man, fucking nice boobs, and she could do all this shit. She wasn't just an empty boob. So, and Jenny laughed when I said that, and evidently Sandra liked that shit too.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about me, though.
Yeah, I guess I'll talk about you, but I said it about her first.
Yeah.
I guess you just didn't notice. So she wasn't just some empty boobs. And then later on in the show, I said, see, she's not just an empty boob. Because you do all those writing books and stuff.
All that writing books and stuff, like I do.
Making stuff. Well, we were talking about your game.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm still working on that.
I don't think that was the same episode.
Well, I don't know. It's hard to tell because all of our episodes really go either boob centric or food centric or or both.
She's blaming it on me.
I didn't say anything about that. I didn't say I didn't say whose intention it was. I just said they go like that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes. Most of the time.
Depends on how close the show is to those injections.
When was the last time you had one?
This morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I don't know anymore because you did them. You can do them on your own now.
Yeah, this morning.
So I don't have to do them. So it's like you can do them. So
I'm
I don't.
Sweating.
Are you really?
Sweating. Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah. It's fucking hot in here.
He's gonna be all oily over there.
Yeah.
Like little stink glands will start coming off him.
Yeah. I start smelling like a teenager's dirty sock.
I know, right? I'm gonna have to like spray. I got Febreze down there. I'll spray you with Febreze, and then I'll be like, psh.
Yeah. Camp guy said, I got a cool man toy, a CO2 cartridge fire BB gun, Crossman brand. I was, that was one of the things I wanted to say. It was, for some reason, I was thinking about that today. I was watching these guys talking about using 22 caliber pistols as like survival tools, to hunt squirrels and birds in case, fucking the zombie apocalypse comes and you have to live off the land. And they're showing these, they're probably representing companies that are trying to sell these pistols, because I've been thinking, no, that's not what you want, because 22 blows right through fucking squirrels, makes a lot of noise, and they're not very effective. You gotta shoot them 2 or 3 times. They're fucking hanging by the tree limbs. Oh no, don't shoot me again. Don't shoot me again.
You're such an asshole.
Yeah, because they just don't.
Just little.
Squirrels don't apply any resistance to even the smallest of bullet, like a 22 long rifle. It just zings through them almost kind of surgically. It's like stabbing it with an ice pick. It doesn't do much trauma to it other than just torture the goddamn thing. You just got to fill it full of holes. If it's not a headshot, they just run off with a hole in them. It does kill them, but man, it's not very efficient. And you're just shooting up a lot of expensive 20. the best thing for survival is a fucking pump, or you could use CO2, a pump air rifle that can fire pellets. And if you have the pellet mold, the 17 caliber pellet mold, you can keep yourself in pellets for your whole life. And they're like, well, where are you going to get that lead? You steal the lead off of car wheels, the wheel weights. You see a car with wheel weights, you fucking steal his wheel weights. Just take that shit back to the campfire, melt it in there, and drop it down into the bullet mold. You can sit there and make 17 caliber pellets all day long. Sure. So you do it. Yeah. Okay. And that does, it's a lot more effective on little things like birds and squirrels. It's not moving that fast. And they tend to be pretty accurate, and they're totally silent. So you're not giving away your position. It's
silent but deadly.
Yeah, and you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to give very many pumps to it. The weaker it is, the more effective it is on those squirrels. It's like throwing a rock on them. It'll hit them, and they're ooh. And they had a term. I don't know if it ever turned out to be scientifically true. It was called bullet time. It was for how long a bullet was actually in the body of the target working. The slower it is, the longer it was in there. And that, I think with real small game, that might matter. Not with bigger stuff, but with smaller stuff, it might matter. Based on what I've seen. But you have to see slow motion shots of how it going through there, you know. And a gel test doesn't matter. People put too much weight in gel. And gel test ain't shit.
Thank you, Mr. Roboto.
What do you say?
Or I should have said Domo Arigato.
Yeah.
Mr. Roboto.
What do you say?
It says, so squirrel talk interesting?
Yeah.
Is it? I don't know. That's up to you to decide. Tammy says, if anybody's missing their wheel weights, ask Tom.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Molded that shit into bullets.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I thought you were going to, keep talking.
No.
All right, so...
Back in the 1800s, those cowboys molded their own bullets.
You did keep talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that was
They molded their own bullets. And over the campfire. Okay, no, go ahead.
No, I was saying, Camp Guy said we had a child killed by a 177 about 5 to 10 years ago. Hit him right in the heart.
Yeah, could happen. Sure.
Yeah, as a little kid, yeah.
17 caliber pellet.
Yeah.
If you put enough power behind it, it can do something similar to a 22. That's why I like the pump air guns. So you can vary the power. You can get a weak shot on something real small, or pump it up something a little more powerful, you know, for like a rabbit, you know. But for real small game, man, the firearms, air gun. Air gun's a lot more efficient. And it's quiet. You know, why are you calling attention to yourself? Hold all that fucking noise down.
Tom.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He's telling other people to be quiet.
Yeah.
That's really ironic.
I know.
So we got a big box from DJ Maniac yesterday, yes?
Yes, we did.
And it had all those magazines in it, like he said he was gonna send. Mm-hmm. And also this other cool shit here. So first there was all this cool shit. There was this postcard here, right? The House of Mysterious Secrets, which is super cool. Try not to fucking fuck up the stream. There you go. There's that, and then there's all, for those of you who are tripping right now. Oh, you can get okay. And then look, Garbage Pail Kid. I have a couple of these too, although I do not have this one. This is what is it called? Tact Trent. Presumably not Trent Reznor, although it might be. That looks like something he'd be into. And also, again, for those who are tripping, there you go. And then look at this cool shit here. So first we have this little fella, who he looks like the Invisible Man because he's all clear and stuff. He has this little thing, and you can also hold on. You can also take that off, and then put on this little bag head thing. Like that. See? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now, DJ Maniac made all these. I think he made these. I think.
And then, these are super cool.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Look at it's Alex from A Clockwork Orange.
Yep.
Look how freaking cute that is. Oh my god, I love it. He's got his old stick and everything. And then, this is Tom's favorite right here.
Yep.
Look, it's little bitty.
It's a cross.
It's a little tiny
snake Plissken.
It's a little tiny snake Plissken.
Yeah. Let me see.
I call him Lil Crustle.
Yeah. It looks craft built.
He's Little Crustle.
But real well made.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. Maybe hand painted. I think so.
DJ says, I didn't make these, but I know your taste in movies and toys.
Okay. I've never seen this Snake Plissken. I don't know what series that came from.
They're cool though.
Yeah.
He's so cute and he's so good.
I think maybe I did though. I think you could buy that in a thing like a Star Wars action figure. I think it came with a gun.
Garden snake Plissken. That's awesome. So they're gonna hang out over here together right now. I think I showed my Mothman, didn't I? My Mothman.
Yeah, you already showed that.
I'm pretty sure I called.
Now where's the?
I just bought that.
Okay,
myself.
and then there was this. What I was telling you guys about earlier. Sent a whole bunch heavy metal magazines.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them look like they're from 2012, around that time period. But I was looking inside. I haven't had a chance to read any of them. But looking inside, some of these stories actually look like some of the stories from the 70s. But some of it looks new and some of it looks classic.
Well, so maybe some of them are reprints, or they had somebody like redo them.
I think they were going through there and maybe showing some of the older classic stuff too.
Yeah, that would be the thing
Yeah,
to
these
do,
magazines
because then
were
people
great.
that were younger and they were buying them like nowadays,
Yeah.
or whenever they came out, would be like, oh, look at the old shit.
Yeah, but these were great. They all kind of had that kind of a Frank Frazetta vibe to them, and they were all kind of.
That's some Wicked City shit right there.
Yeah, they were kind of sexy. Yeah, there was one in here that had like a fetish theme going on. Now some of them are in kind of rough condition, but I could probably finish it, or it's not finish it. What do you call it? Restore it.
Yeah, well, there you go. Boobs.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
They had one where a fetish girl came out of the mouth of another fetish girl. Like she turned herself inside out. I want to go back and look at that.
Man, I hate when that happens.
Yeah, you never know when that might happen.
Yeah. I've had that happen so many times, I can't even count. Shit, man, I turned myself inside out again.
Yeah, I don't know if they're still making this kind of stuff anymore. This is what I grew up with, though. They had this all the way back in the late 70s, mid-70s.
Yeah, he said they're all modern, but...
They're all modern? Now Pookie comes in and starts looking at
Oh,
everything.
no! She's gonna, like... You know how she's... Look at.
She's gonna go, oh, I can tear this up.
Yay!
Yeah, no, you
don't
can't
let her,
tear
don't
that
let
up.
her, don't let her.
You can't tear that up.
I know what she's thinking.
Oh, she tried to catch it. Okay,
She's like, no, don't take it, don't take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she came up on my desk earlier. I don't know why. Because I got that grooming glove, you know. Well, actually, I got two of them. I got one for her and I got one for Mr. McGuire, because Beijing already has one. And so I was petting her other day with that, and she was really into it. So I think she jumped up on the desk thinking that I was gonna, but I was trying to eat tacos at the time. So she's like running all over my desk, all over my computers, and getting hair all over everything. And I'm like, God damn it. How do I eat tacos with like Pookie's hair in there? But you know, whatever. She has hair everywhere. I'm sure I've probably eaten a lot of her hair at this stage. Also, wanted to give a shout out to Louie. We just got this probably like an hour ago. And he sent us the Blu-ray of Collateral with Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx. There we go.
Yeah. That's the second one of those we got, actually, though. The first one was a DVD.
Yeah, we had a DVD of it.
Yeah, a DVD, but we haven't got around to watching it yet.
Yeah, we haven't watched it yet, though.
Right.
And also, here is, look at this. This is a Steelbook edition.
Oh, what is that?
Of Top Gun.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
That was the first fucking gay Air Force movie.
That we know of.
The first gay Air Force movie. It's a homoerotic movie.
It is. There was a lot of that going on in the 80s.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a good movie, though.
There was a lot of it.
Well, we would kind of laugh at it saying it was homoerotic. It wasn't blatant, but there was an undertone. So
I don't know. I think it was pretty blatant.
You're a girl.
Not as
It's
blatant
your
as
mind going through it.
as what's that other one? Shit, man, you know what I'm talking about.
No.
The one with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it.
Well, he was in a lot of movies.
I know that. You know which one I'm talking about? The one with fucking the dude with the fishnet shirt that was supposed to be like, what the fuck?
Commando.
Yeah, there you go.
Commando, yeah.
I couldn't remember the name of it for
Commando.
whatever reason. I'm having
Commando was kind of like a video game and a music video all put together. What's up, Pook?
I was talking about Pookie's hair getting in my lunch, and Mr. Robota says hairy taco, now trending.
Yeah.
Esther said, "Did you get your package, Jenny?" No, not yet. Not today. But I got one from Louie today, but that was it.
Yeah.
The dude with the arms and the hair. So yeah, thanks.
So yeah,
you guys.
thanks for DJ Maniac for
you
sending
guys
me
are
that.
awesome.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome. What else was I gonna say? Oh, I was saying something about
Sandra goes, the dudes with the arms and the hair.
Well, yeah. See, that's what I always.
The dude with the arms and the hair.
That's
And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking
No,
about?
it's like, well, this is a joke of what, and I've joked with you about this before,
Yeah.
but it's like this joke goes all the way back to like my high school years, because me and my friends would be like, we'd be talking about somebody that we both knew or a dude that was in a movie or something like that, and we would not be able to remember their name, and so we would try to describe them, but we weren't very good at describing them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, that guy, and then the other person
with
would
the
be
eyes.
like, the dude with the eyes, you know,
Yeah,
and the head.
yeah.
It was like, you were not
The
helping.
dude with the eyes and the head, yeah.
So that's what I mean. It's just like,
Yeah.
like you're not helping because you're not describing anything that's all that significant.
Yeah.
But yeah, Freddie Mercury was in Commando. Yeah, so you might as well have been. But yeah, so did Path Kitty come back? Yes, I saw him on Monday, and then I didn't see him yesterday, and so I was kind of like, uh-oh. And then I saw him this morning. Interestingly, I'm not sure if somebody else has been, like, I know other people in the path like feed him because I've seen that happen. But like I said, he had like some kind of sore like on his side, and I think it might be where he pulled that hair mat off. And so it was bleeding, and so I bought some of that, it's like an antibiotic spray, and you like spray it, it's like, you know, it's topical, and it's safe for them to lick because he doesn't have like the, you know, the cone of shame or anything, because he's
The
an
cone of
outside cat.
shame.
Yeah, that has a name, but it's just cone of shame. Hi Tila, thank you.
Tila jumps in, sending money our way. Thank you very much, Tila.
J&T, thanks for introducing me to Videodrome. What a great and trippy movie.
Okay, you got to see that one, huh?
Fantastic, right?
Yeah. And the whole dude, he had his whole manifesto on videotape. He would speak to you through the television.
Uh-huh.
The television is like an eye, directly to the mind. Yeah, that's fucking creepy shit, man.
Yeah, I love that.
Imagine seeing that shit when you were like, what year did that come out?
Was that 81?
Okay.
I thought it was
81.
81. Maybe it was later. Now I can't remember.
So I might have been around 11 or 12 when I saw it. I was fucking tripping.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 13. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
He's down there brainwashing the bums with the fucking cathode tube. The cathode tube eye. Yeah, and they had the damn cable.
83 it was. Sorry, I was waiting.
83, is that it was? So I'd have been 14 or 15 when I saw it. Yeah, it was fucking trip. So, and then they had the damn S&M fucking torture channel coming through the damn satellite television. Fucking, that was some wild shit. The whole concept of a fucking satellite TV was a trip to me too. That you could,
Well, yeah, it's funny because nowadays everyone's
Yeah. like you could talk to They had some people that had radar dishes, satellite dishes outside their house. Even in Heidelberg, Mississippi, they had them. It's funny. You see these little fucking country houses, a big old fucking satellite dish out back.
It's funny because I was thinking about this kind of like the other day. Because, oh, you know why? Because I was listening to my Pandora station while I was out hiking, and that song Mexican Radio came on by Wall of Voodoo. And then I was thinking to myself how funny, like, I think that song came out in 82 or 83. And I was like, how big a deal that was to like get broadcasts from other countries and stuff. And now it's like nothing. But, you know, she says, would y'all remake it? Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I just don't think it would have worked. I don't think it would work the same.
Remake what?
Videodrome.
No.
No. I think it's a product
Frozen
of
in
its time.
Yeah.
And you know, and the thing about it is David Cronenberg's son is making like cool ass movies nowadays.
Yeah. If you want
along the same lines. So
that shit only worked in the day because video was such a new technology and new video products were being sold to you in the form of cable television, satellite television, and VHS. And some people actually could afford a VHS camera. Damn, they were fucking expensive back in those days. Yeah, you were fucking you were the shit if you had that. And because these were new emerging technologies, there is always a possibility that there might be some bad side effects to that. And that's what that movie was about. Watching imagery might fuck your mind up. Now we know it's maybe only partially true. Depends on what's in that imagery. Yeah, because you can put out misinformation, disinformation, fucking propaganda. You can change people's opinions and force opinions on people, mass psychology. But they're talking about on an individual level through an underground channel, showing you weird shit like perverse torture porn, and in it is a damn fucking, it's a carrier for a signal that can go into your brain and alter your biology. Or maybe. Or are you just going crazy? You don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know. Because he grabbed a gun and his hand engulfed that gun. Then he put that gun in his belly, and then later on was used as like a Manchurian candidate, an assassin, to go out. And he pulled that gun out of his belly, killed a guy with it, and then he put the gun back, didn't he? And then somebody else punched him in the stomach where the gun was. When he pulled his hand out, his hand was now a fucking ticking time bomb, a grenade. So he had no. What did he really have mastery over his own body? Was he the thing like the Thing now? Or was it all in his mind? Was he crazy?
Well, it could be either thing.
Could be either one. You don't know.
Man, imagine how handy that would be if you could just store everything in your stomach. Didn't have to carry a purse.
No.
That's more relevant for women, I guess.
You didn't need a carry conceal permit. You didn't need a holster. You just put the gun in your stomach.
It's like, hey, let me get my lipstick and my phone and my wallet and shit like that. Yeah, somebody said Possessor was coming to Shudder. We saw it on Amazon Prime, I think, because we reviewed that a little while. And also, I did a review of Antiviral, which was Brandon Cronenberg's first movie, and I watched that on UK Shudder. I don't think it's on American Shudder, but it might be. They might add Possessor and Antiviral at the same time. But yeah. Oh, what I was saying about Path Kitty, whose name is McGuire. His name is Mr. McGuire. So I had sprayed like some of that topical stuff on him on Monday, and then Tuesday I didn't see him. So I was kind of like, well, shit, where did he go? But I saw him this morning, and it looks like somebody that kind of knew what they were doing, like cut the mats out of his hair. Because on one side, the hair mat's completely gone. The other side, it's gone, but a lot of his hair is just down to the skin. But it had to because it got like torn off, you know what I mean? Now, where the blood was, there's like a cut or some kind of something. So it's like this big kind of cut on his side. But it wasn't bleeding today. But I couldn't tell if it was scabbed over or if it had stitches. But it didn't seem to be bothering him. Like, I took my other glove out and I was like, you know, combing his hair. And honestly, I got so much fucking hair out of that cat. It was like a tennis ball. Like, it was this big. Like, what came out on the glove. And so I put some more spray on the cut. And it didn't seem to be hurting him or anything. But it's not bleeding anymore. So maybe it's getting better.
Yeah. What else is it? Hey, T, if you saw a video drum, you saw the Brood, right? I think she did.
I really like the Brood.
The Brood was good too.
Rick Shaw says, "I need alcohol." Yeah, don't we all? Camp Guy said it's not as good as Clove Hitch Killer. You know what? I just watched Clove Hitch Killer yesterday and did a review of it, which is going up in I don't even remember when it's going up, in a week or two, something like that. What's on UK Shudder? Antiviral. Brandon Cronenberg's first movie. Possessor might be on there too. I haven't actually checked it in a little while.
We saw that one, didn't we?
I saw Antiviral. You didn't see it.
I didn't see it. Okay.
We saw Possessor.
Together. Yeah. Possessor was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked Possessor. Antiviral was weird. I think I liked Possessor a little bit better, but Antiviral was still really good too. I mean, Victor says, ew, Clove Hitch was garbage. I really liked it. I liked it. It's weird. It was one of those movies where people either really dug it or they really hated it. I think a lot of people hated it because they didn't like the end, but I wasn't bothered by the end, actually. It kind of made sense to me.
T says she saw the Brood a long time ago about the hybrid children. A question mark. They're not hybrid children. go see it again. Go see it again. You'll like it. After seeing Videodrome, you'll probably appreciate it more. Cronenberg's into this body horror and the idea that institutions can do bad things. He likes that. I like that too. It's about a dude who has come up with a way of fucking like kind of like a self-help program using like a types of meditation, and it's a lot. He's trying to find a way so people can take their inner traumas and kind of like move them to the outside to where they can manage them and deal with them. And it doesn't work all the time. Fucking it does bad shit to certain people. And in one particular woman, it gives her the ability to give birth to children just on her own. It's fucking weird, man.
They're like rage.
Yeah, they're like rage monsters. And
because they're not real. They're like
they're children, but not really. They're kind of children. Yeah, they're mutant children.
Well, because
and they're
connected
to her.
It's like immaculate conception.
Yeah,
but they're not really humans.
No.
I mean, they are, but
they're more like a clone.
Yeah,
like an evil clone. They're like,
and she just produces them from her negative emotion.
They're like drones too. They're sexless, and she's kind of psychically connected to them. Or was it pheromones? Like I think it might have been.
Shit! Now I can't.
I think it might have been pheromones, kind of like a queen ant. I think. Like,
yeah, it was that kind of shit.
Something like that. Yeah. Weird.
Tila said she watched The Ninth Gate, which was a Roman Polanski movie. I've actually been wanting to do that because they have it on Hulu, and I've put it in the poll a couple times, but it never wins. So maybe we'll just do it anyway, just for the hell of it.
What's that other Cronenberg movie that's like the
Shivers?
Yeah, that one's okay.
There
was better. He made better ones than that.
Well, that was an early one.
Yeah,
that was the one about the sex parasite.
It's around the time of Videodrome. I think after that. What came out after that?
Scanners.
That's right.
Although no, I think Scanners was maybe before.
Videodrome. If you haven't seen Scanners, see Scanners.
We need to review Scanners.
That's really good.
Yeah. See, David June says Ninth Gate is awesome. See, I think I saw Ninth Gate in the theater, and I remember it being really good, but I haven't seen it since then. So I saw that it was on Hulu, and I was like, oh, we should probably review that. Maybe we could just do it as a matinee one day, because I've been wanting to watch it again.
Yeah, The Fly was good, but The Fly was a mainstream movie.
Still great, though.
Yeah. It didn't really feel like a fucking weird, underground, dirty Cronenberg movie, though. And that's what his movies kind of get.
Dirty.
Yeah, they made you feel dirty. They did. They made you feel like you needed to take a shower afterwards. Like you weren't really supposed to be watching that. At least when I was a kid.
Well, see, that was the best thing about all the movies back then. I mean, nowadays, I feel like it doesn't have the same allure to it.
Like there's so much out there.
Because there's so much out there, and it's like, you know. But like back then, it was kind of like everybody would talk about, have you seen that one?
Yeah, you're like, that's just terrible. Man. Did you see it? Yeah, I saw it. That's just nasty. Let's see it again. Like, it's just because there wasn't as much stuff out there, and you had cable TV, and you didn't have to pay for it, so you could just wait for it to come back on again. And cable was our version of the internet back in those days, and everybody was watching it.
And Dead Zone, he did Dead Zone too.
Yeah, Dead Zone, but that's another one that was mainstream.
Because it was based on a Stephen King.
Yeah, he did. He did Christine too, didn't he?
Yeah, that was John Carpenter.
John Carpenter, that's right.
That was John Carpenter. Yeah. But David Cronenberg did make a movie called Crash, which was based on a J.G. Ballard story. Did you see Crash?
No.
Oh, it was about the people that were like erotically attracted to car crashes.
Oh, yeah, I heard about it.
Yeah,
I remember it.
I think I saw that in the theater.
That was like 96, right? 94, 96, somewhere around that time.
Somewhere, it might have been later. And then he made Existenz, which was kind of about like a virtual reality video game, but like I remember all the games, like it plugged into it was like an organic video game, like it plugged right into your, like an umbilical cord, like it plugged right into your spinal column, and all the controller for the video game was like made of flesh, and you had to like massage it to get it to do shit and stuff like that.
Hey Tila, add Scanners on there too. Scanners 1. Scanners 2 is shit. I remember Scanner 2 as being good, but I was a kid when I saw it. Went back and saw it later because Cronenberg didn't do that. Somebody else did. Scanners 2 is fucking unwatchable. But Scanners 1, Scanners is fucking great.
Rabid, that was the one I was trying to think of.
Yeah, Rabid. Yeah,
that's right.
But that one was okay. I still would take Scanners over Rabid. Scanners was up there with like Videodrome and The Brood. It was like that.
I love that that the head explosion from Scanners has just become a meme.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like every time you want to show that somebody blew your mind, you just
Yeah,
that's such a great effect.
Scanners was about a company. They were a government contractor, weren't they?
Yeah, I think. I haven't seen it in a while, but yeah.
And they had figured out how to either breed people or get people to have psychic abilities like telekinesis. But it was mostly about you could look at a person and it could kill a person with thought. I think they could get you to do things though too, couldn't they? Yeah. Or was it just kill you? I think they could suggest things to you.
Yeah, I think they could, although I might be mixing it up with Firestarter.
Right.
Because remember the dad in Firestarter had that ability to push people so he could get them to do whatever.
They were going to use them as kind of like assassins. But of course, one of them goes rogue. That's a pretty good movie. A couple of them go rogue, actually.
Yeah,
Pat start doing shit on their own.
Pat said, "Don't forget they came from within." Yeah, that's called Shivers over here for whatever reason. But yeah, that's the same movie. Shivers was funded by the Canadian government. I think a lot of his movies were because they had that like tax shelter thing.
Yeah.
And like, don't you guys watch fantasy movies? Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Maleficent, etc.
Yeah. I don't like them that much.
I liked the Lord of the Rings ones. I liked the Harry Potter movies, although I liked the books better. I don't know, for whatever reason, I like some of them, but it's not like a big genre for me. I don't really like real big spectacle movies as a rule. There are exceptions to that rule, obviously, but even like kind of the Marvel movies and stuff like that, like I like them, but it's not, I don't really like seek them out. You know what I'm saying?
I liked Conan. That's about it for fantasy.
Which is, and that's not like way over the top fantasy. That's kind of like
Conan 1. Conan the Destroyer was okay. It wasn't as good as the first one, you know. John Milius wasn't involved in that one. I wish they would have made Milius's original trilogy. Destroyer, though, in a weird way, was closer to the fucking Conan comic books, though.
Yeah.
It had some terrible special effects. It really, there's 2 or 3 scenes where they're fighting boss monsters. If they could redo those scenes using some kind of CGI or CG, insert different combat scenes in there, that movie would be a lot better. Because it's really only 2 scenes in it that fuck the movie up. Fighting the wizard around all those mirrors and the final boss monster was fucking pretty cheesy.
Yeah.
The rest of it wasn't that bad. You could fix it. Just, I don't know.
I can fix it.
You could fix it. Yeah. Well, the rest of the movie wasn't that bad.
It wasn't.
It was just spoiled by those costumes.
Yeah, I kind of feel like if you're gonna cheap out on that shit, either just like don't put it in the movie.
Don't put it in.
Because it's just gonna like ruin it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tila said I also rewatched The Howling, one of the best werewolf movies ever. Oh yeah, I love
the first one. Yeah.
The Howling. Down the bomb says
I thought that female werewolf when I was a kid. I thought that fucking girl was hot as shit, man.
Were you like, I have the weirdest boner right now?
Yeah. Yeah. I was about
like
13.
she's an animal, but
when she wasn't turned into an animal.
Okay. So when
because she did a bunch of nude scenes and shit, that girl was fucking. I'm trying to say she was a girl. She's a girl now compared to me now, but she was probably 25. She was fucking hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like 13, you're going, oh god, I wish I could get that. You know.
You can tell you got your injection today.
No, that's the way it was. I'm just telling you that's the way it was.
Oh my god.
That's the way it was. And look, man, Gramthars is gonna fucking back me up. Fucking, we're from the same generation. That's the way we thought back then. You're 13. You're just looking at the screen, going, "I want." Well,
I think that's how most.
That's the way all guys were.
That's the way most.
We're gonna be honest about it. We're gonna be honest about it.
Yeah, Sheila Ann's also. So there's another vote for the Ninth Gate. Shit, man, we should probably do that. I'm gonna write it down. Right. I have it because, like I said, I put it in the poll a couple times and it never wins. And I was like, I've been wanting to rewatch it ever since I saw that Hulu added it. And I was like, well, shit, man, maybe we could just do a matinee on it, and then nobody has to vote on it. We'll just do it.
See,
Thank you, Zach.
Even Tila said that was a great sex scene in The Howling with that chick.
Yeah, it was.
She was hot. She had sexy lips. She had those pouty lips, and she was kind of gothic. But she was kind of like hippie gothic. She had the long black hair parted in the middle.
Yeah.
Wearing the kind of like black, kind of see-through, gauzy looking material and fucking real low cut, fucking like a V thing. And she's running around. She's kind of like a biker looking too, you know. She's fucking hot. You know? Fucking pouty lips and shit.
Pouty lips.
Yeah,
Those bee-stung lips.
Pouty, yeah. Looked like she just got her Botox injection.
Yeah, like Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
Thank you, Zach. He said, I had an idea for a Cronenberg-style pandemic-themed horror movie about a guy hallucinating his body falling apart in isolation. Yeah, I'm sure we'll probably be seeing some movies like that coming out. I've already seen like some ones that were made about that, if you can like knock them out. Esther says The History of Lips and Boobs by Tom Ross.
Thank you very much. Write a whole book about it.
Yeah, he's gonna write a book about it.
You did read off Zach's
I did, yeah.
Okay.
What, were you not paying attention?
No, I had to read.
He never listens.
I had to read.
I can't read and listen at the same time.
Pat Hatfield said the same thing. I agree with your thoughts on The Howling. Tila also agreed with the female werewolf being ultra hot. Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Hot werewolf.
Hot werewolf.
Oh my God, there's another shirt.
Well, when she turned into the werewolf, she just looked like a werewolf. But when she was in human form, she was hot as shit. You want me? I got pictures to prove it.
Okay. So what if she still kind of looked like a human, but then kind of looked like a werewolf, and also had like 6 boobs? Would that still be hot, or would it be starting to get into weird territory? I guess it depends on who you are.
She did kind of look like that as a werewolf.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
She didn't look hot though. You could just tell she was. You could just tell.
She's like, she needs some nair. I just can't.
You could just tell it was supposed to be her.
Yeah.
You know, but no.
We did a review on that.
She looked like a bipedal dog.
Yeah.
I think she had boobs, but it didn't matter. You know what I mean? She looked like a bipedal dog walking around with big old fucking fangs. You know what I mean?
Which I guess is some guy's dream girl. Just saying. I don't know.
There might be some. Oh, I'm sure there's some fucking fetish porn for that.
Well,
there's fetish porn for everything.
There is. That's what I mean. That's what they call it. Internet Rule 34. Anything you can think of, there's porn of it.
Yeah.
That's the rule. Yeah. Zach says, also, did you guys hear about Amazon buying MGM?
I heard about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazon's dumb as fuck for buying MGM. MGM's going broke as hell. What do they want? 007? That James Bond movie fucking sucks. They're going to have to reshoot that thing again. I wouldn't have bought it. I would have let fucking MGM fucking go belly up. But they want that catalog.
Well, that's what I mean. That's probably why they bought it, so they can have the catalog. Because it's probably a massive back catalog.
Yeah, there's just not much there, though. I heard it all listed off of what they might be interested in, and MGM tried to launch some of those properties, and they didn't launch. They tried to launch fucking Chucky. That didn't work. They tried to launch a bunch of that shit. It didn't work. These are fucking suits, all right? Suits are not creative. They see these properties as platforms of just making money. They don't see anything about creativity.
Thank you again, Mr. Roboto.
What's his name?
Once you start, you don't think about it, really. Some do. He's talking about The Howling.
Okay, yeah. They're going to end up with a bunch of loser properties that nobody wants to watch. The reason why nobody watches that bullshit anymore is because it's not new. It's not fresh. You can't reboot these fucking things over and over again. You can't just inject a bunch of fucking identity politics and a bunch of fucking transsectional bullshit in there and get it to work. You have to make new shit. And they don't want to hear that. It's too risky for them. Even though they're going to realize that these old properties are fucking losers. All right? They can't even get fucking Terminator right. You know? Anything they do is going to fucking suck. It's because they're just a bunch of suits. They're not artists. Think about it. Terminator 1, Predator 1, all these fucking big properties, they were not made by suits. Part 1 was always made by some little independent guy who is just, I'm going to do this. So, wow, look at that. Never been done before. And it took off. you can't just revamp and rehash over and over again. They don't care.
But like I said, I understand why they do it. They've been doing that since fucking movies started.
Yeah.
Back in the fucking early 20th century.
That's why they're going out of business right now.
I mean, it works for a while. And like I said.
Yeah, diminishing returns. All about sales.
It's just kind of like, people like things that are familiar, but only up to a point. But the thing about it is that nobody really knows, and if they, thank you, no need for me. Nobody really knows like what anyone's gonna like. Even people that say they know what people are gonna like, they don't know what people are gonna like. You never know what's gonna hit, right? So I kind of feel like if you try to make something that's gonna be a big hit, it's just that you're gonna like, I don't know. How many times have we done fucking movie reviews where people were like, I mean, fuck, man, even George Lucas, when he did Star Wars, he's like, yeah, I didn't really think it was gonna go anywhere. Look how that fucking worked out. I don't think that anybody really can predict like what's going to hit and what's not. Because some things, I've seen some movies that, they supposedly did everything right and they had everything. Well, this is what everybody likes. This is this, that, and the other thing. And what? Oh.
That's the girl from the house. We're just proving it right now. We're going to prove it. See? That's the girl from the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna read his
yeah,
he said down with that the super chat said it was from No Need for Me, down with identity politics and entertainment. Yeah, it's just fucking you can see right through it, and it's not artistic. It's just some corporate bullshit. They're checking little boxes and they're gonna come up with some generic fucking, it ends up being like art from like the Soviet Union, you know what I mean? The Soviet Union couldn't make art because it all had to apply to a certain fucking Soviet ideal. And so there's no creativity, nothing spontaneous, everything was artificial. It's just going to be generic.
Well, like I said, because they're trying to appeal to the widest possible audience.
Yeah,
and if you try to do that, it's like...
You've now fucked it up.
Yeah, because then it's going to be like people that are really into it aren't going to be into it. It's like, you know what I mean? You can't please everybody.
Art is spontaneous. It's hit or miss. And sometimes it hits, a lot of times it misses. Art usually hits. A lot of the shit that doesn't make any money in the film business, it wasn't art to begin with. It was just some bullshit that they came up with.
Been tinkered with.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, because sometimes, we did a review the other day of like Close Encounters and stuff like that, where it was originally one person's vision, but then it got fucked with and tinkered with and stuff. But sometimes when that happens, it still comes out good. But that's pretty rare.
It's rare.
I think the more it gets fucked with, like the farther it strays away from the original vision, the shittier. It's not always, because sometimes it depends on who had the original vision, because sometimes the person that had the original vision needs an editor. You know what I mean? So, and if they're just kind of left to their own devices and like they do their own thing, case in point, I know it's easy to like say like George Lucas, like it's good that he had other people like saying, hey, don't do that because that's dumb. But the same thing applies to people like, Stephen King, where when he tries to make a movie, he, when you can see it between like the Stanley Kubrick version of The Shining and Stephen King's version of The Shining. Obviously, the Stanley Kubrick one is a million times better, but Stephen King thought that he thinks that his one is better, even though it is clearly not. Even though he's clearly wrong. But you know what I mean. Thank you again, Mr. Roboto. Idea Frankenstein takes Hollywood. We can make it. Frankenstein or Frankenstein's monster? Esther says, I couldn't finish Audition, scared the hell out of me. I'm going to do that on my Flickers of Fear show eventually. It's on my list. And Tila was also talking about watching Tenebrae, which is another one I'm going to do. The one I'm doing next, well, no, because I do them ahead. But I'm doing The Church by Michele Soavi, the same guy that directed Cemetery Man. It was like produced and written by Dario Argento as well. Kind of a later one. I think it was like late 80s. Ozzy Argento was in it when she was kind of a kid or a teenager. And so I've been watching that one. I've seen it before, but I'm like rewatching it to do a review.
Best channel right now about film and Hollywood, if you ask me, is on YouTube. I'm going to give him a plug. It's a YouTube channel called Midnight's Edge. And I think the guy who actually runs the channel, I think he's from Sweden or Norway, Denmark, something like that. but there's a bunch of American guys, and there's people that were directors in Hollywood. Some of them are kind of like Hollywood outcasts, people that some of them are still in Hollywood, and they know the lingo and the business, and they'll tell you what certain things mean and why they're doing certain things and how the studio systems all work. And it's going just the way I said it was. And mostly because I've been listening to those dudes for years too, so I saw it coming. They're consolidated. Hollywood hasn't really made the kind of money that the investors wanted to make, what they've been normally making, especially in past decades. It's taken about 15 years for it to get to where it is now. Okay. The studio system is very bloated, very inefficient, very corrupt. The budgets do not really reflect how much actually went into the movie. A lot of it is greasing palms, hiding money, tax sheltering, tax evasion, lots and lots of corruption, sending money to your cousin, hiring your cousin to play a certain part just because, they're trying to keep the monies within the empires and the families. Not about writing. It's not really about talent, more about product placement, more about donations from political groups. It's just a bloated fucking mess. And then the theater chains were involved in it. COVID was kind of used as a partial excuse to collapse all that, because they weren't making money. They want to sell all this stuff up to the next generation, and that's going to be Silicon Valley and Silicon Valley Part 2 and Silicon Valley Part 3, and it's going to be those streaming services, and that's where it's going to go. The good part about it is that some of these streaming services will be able to fund very small projects or buy very small projects. So there's going to be a very vibrant indie film industry, and that's really what we need to be looking at if you want to look at indie film. All right. There's some good news. Disney's getting its act together. They're going to fucking make Star Wars a for-profit fucking business, and they're going to put fucking the guys that did The Mandalorian are going to basically handle the entire brand. Okay. So it's all going to be good as good as Mandalorian was, if not better, because they're getting rid of all the people that had different agendas. It's just going to be a for-profit business. Another good thing that they're talking about is that Conan is safe. The guy in the Howard Foundation who owns the rights to Conan has made sure that the Marvel comic book of Conan is legit. Comic books fucking suck, especially Marvel right now, with the exception of a couple of brands, and one of them is fucking Conan. They say Conan is great. And they said, if you give a shit about comic books or any of this stuff, buy Conan and support it. I wouldn't mind getting some Conan comic books and read how that's going. But the movies rights for Conan, Amazon tried to buy it. But when the guy who owns the Howard Foundation saw the scripts, he's like, nope, that's not true to the books. And he said no to them because the dude's got money. He doesn't give a shit. So he's not going to pimp Conan out like a cheap whore. Conan movies from the future will be Conan movies. The guy who runs the foundation liked Conan 1. Even though he said that wasn't totally accurate, he still liked the vibe of that. And that's going to be the Conan. This guy will not sell out. If, because the way new technologies are going, if interest is there, he theoretically could do Kickstarters and raise enough money to do the movies without any studio help and do all that shit contracted, all by the fans, and you would get a badass fucking Conan movies or a series, just like the way MST is doing. You remember MST? Yeah. MST, Netflix wanted to fuck with MST. And then they didn't want to pay the certain amount of money. MST said, fuck Netflix. We have our own fan base. We can raise our own money and make the show without any of you studios or fuck all. And they got exactly what they wanted and more. And how long? Tell them how that Kickstarter went.
Well, it was 30 days. They got 6.5 million,
which was more than what they actually needed to do a season. And she contributed. Jenny contributed to that.
I gave them money. Hell yeah.
Yeah. And that's going to be the model of the future.
I mean, they're building their own virtual theater that's going to have an app. They're gonna do, I think, 12 or 13 episodes, so they're doing a whole like full season, and they got like a bunch of shorts they're gonna do. I think they're gonna do a dozen shorts like separately, and they're gonna have all kind of guest stars. They're gonna have all kind of shit. It's gonna be super fun.
So they're gonna be able to make them the series that they wanted to make for their specific fans. Nobody meddling into the product. And that's the model of the future. That's fucking great. Because the problem with the old way was you had studios, and then you had producers who would fucking flip up, and investors. They would put forth all this money out on these projects, and then they would dictate to the directors and the writers, no, I don't want that in my movie. I'm not going to pay for that. So you don't want them in there because that doesn't have anything to do with the fans. You want the producers and the investors to be the fans themselves, to prepay for these fuckers. That's where you go. That's the way to go. That way the fans will get the movie that they paid for.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be. It's for the fans.
Yeah.
Not the studios.
So Zach asked me a question a long time ago. Was there anything that I saw, like a movie that I saw that I liked better than the book? The first thing that I thought of, actually the only thing that I thought of, was The Hunger. The Hunger was written by Whitley Strieber, the same guy that got kidnapped by aliens and wrote Communion, probably his better known book. But he wrote The Hunger as well, and then they made a movie about it in 1983, which we reviewed. Catherine Deneuve, David Bowie, Susan Sarandon. And I saw the movie first, and I loved it. It's like a goth wet dream. I love that fucking movie, and I've seen it over and over. I know some people at the time complained, oh, blah, blah, blah. It looks like a music video. It's style over substance. Fuck those people. It's an awesome, awesome movie. So then, like, I read the book after I saw, and I liked the book, but it didn't give me the same, I don't know, like, I just really, really liked the whole, like, vibe of the movie, and I didn't really get that from the book as much. The book is still good, and the only thing I liked better about the book is that it goes into Miriam's kind of backstory a lot more, which they kind of refer to in the movie. Like, there's a couple little flashbacks, like, oh, she was in ancient Egypt and all this other kind of stuff. They go more into that in the book. And I liked that, but they didn't really need that for the movie because it really wasn't all that relevant. Just to show, yeah, she's super fucking old. Like, she's been around forever. But that's kind of the only thing I think. I'm sure there's something else. I mean, shit, man. Now I can't think of it. I mean, almost always, 99.99% of the time, the book is always going to be better. But I don't know. That's the only one that I could think of. That was the first one that, like, popped into my head, was The Hunger. Because I remember reading the book and, like, being like, I liked the movie better. That doesn't usually happen, though. It's weird because sometimes if I've read the book before I go see the movie, it seems like the movie is going, like, super fast because they have to leave so much shit out of the book. And I'm like, oh my God, this shit's happening already. So I don't know. It's really weird. I like to see movie adaptations of books that I've read, but in a way I kind of don't, because I understand it's two different mediums, but I don't know. Sometimes it seems like I watch the movie and it just seems like they left so much out and shit just happened so fast. I kind of felt that about the Harry Potter movies too. Although I didn't love the first couple Harry Potter movies because it was still, like, you know, kid focused. They got better as they got, you know, as they went along, because the kids got older and, like, the stories were scarier and shit like that. So, you know, I liked the books as they went along better as well. But
the ride is great.
Well, that whole,
the ride at Universal is fucking
well,
great.
they built the whole entire.
Yeah.
I mean, they built, like, the wizarding world of Harry Potter. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
Like, they have Diagon Alley and all the shops. You can buy butterbeer and all the fucking shit. It's great.
You get on this broomstick, right? And you fly around on this broomstick. It's virtual. It's partially virtual reality. Part of it, you really are moving. And it just feels like a 360-degree view of flying around this goddamn broomstick, the wind blasting by you. I felt like I was on a roller coaster. I mean, I really bought the motion. It felt like it was fucking moving. It's not moving as fast as you think it is, but it
feels like it is.
Feels like it is.
Well, they're pretty good at doing that nowadays.
I was on that damn broomstick, and it fucking goes way up in the air when the wind's blowing by, and then it dips down, and you see the damn school, and you were diving down kind of with the wind going and spray from mist. It felt like you were flying down at about 180 knots. No, 120 knots. Felt fast.
If you get motion sickness, I would not advise going on that.
And, you know, I'm ex fucking 101st Airborne with fucking 506. We used to fly around with the choppers with the doors open, fucking hanging out with the M60s and shit. And yeah, I was fooled. It felt like we were, like I was flying on a goddamn broomstick. And that's universal.
On
a goddamn broomstick.
Sabrina asked if I had read the sequel to The Hunger. No, I have not. I haven't read a lot of Wheatley Strieber. I read The Hunger and I read Communion.
You're talking about how good the Hunger is. It's a good vampire movie, real good.
And Tila was saying how much she liked that necklace that Miriam used, that
little
that had the
Egyptian
blade the blade that came out.
I
love that movie. I'm not, and somebody said it was a guilty pleasure. I'm not guilty about it. I love that fucking movie.
No, it started off with fucking the guys from Bauhaus.
Fucking Bauhaus was in there.
Bela Lugosi's dead and shit. Yeah. White on white, translucent black.
I just loved, like I said, it's just, man.
Yeah.
It was just when I was a little goth in like junior high and high school, man, we had seen that VHS.
Yeah.
Because everybody's like, there's this movie that's like a vampire movie. There's like all this goth shit in it. It's so cool.
And there's that weird angle that, yeah, you live forever, but you up to a certain point, and then you just start aging.
And then you start disintegrating, but you're still alive.
Yeah.
And I was like, if you think about it, I'm like, wow, that's horrible. And like, she fucking keeps them all, like up in the attic.
Yeah, for some strange reason, she can't bring herself to kill you. So she just leaves you alive up in the attic.
Because she loves them.
Yeah, leaves you
alive. But she's also a monster.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why it was really good. Like, because she was a very interesting villain. Because, I mean, obviously she was a villain, but you could kind of sympathize with her too. She wanted somebody that was going to be with her forever, like a companion. And her blood and human blood just didn't really mix. And she kept having these problems. It's like 200, 300 years down the line, you know, her companion would start aging and she'd be like, oh shit. But, you know, she should have obviously told them like before. Because of course she like hyped it all up. Like, yeah, you live forever. But she didn't tell you that you weren't young forever. Like you were young for a long time. But then you started to age like super rapidly. And then you started to rot essentially. And then she'd be like, okay, I'm putting you up in a coffin in the attic. Bye. And then you'd be up there like fucking disintegrating. And you'd still be alive. I'm like, oh my God, that's so fucking horrifying. I mean, the implications of it are horrifying.
Yeah. Chief, did you sympathize with Bowie's characters too? The sad aging process he went through. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you got to still, you still got to see A Clockwork Orange. And then after that, you got to see.
I thought she said she'd seen that.
After that, you got to see Bronson. I don't think she saw Clockwork Orange. She saw it a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sheila Ann said, I love The Hunger. I wanted that classical piece played at my wedding. Yeah, that's a beautiful piece of music. It's shit, man. Not Franz Liszt. Who was on it? Fuck, man. I can't remember what it was. I'll think of it in a minute. I know who it is. I have it somewhere. I just don't remember who it is. But it's got that opera shit in it too.
People forget that Bowie could act.
He was in. I wanted to do another movie. I wanted to do was The Man Who Fell to Earth.
Yeah.
Which I think is on Hulu. I think I saw they added it the other day. So I want to do that. And he was also in. Have you guys ever seen a movie called The Linguini Incident?
Yeah, he played the bartender in that, didn't he?
Yeah, from the 80s. Like Rosanna Arquette was in it.
It was kind of a rom-com.
A little bit, but it was kind of like a quirky, I don't even want to say rom-com. It was kind of like a rom-com, but in the way that sort of Desperately Seeking Susan was a rom-com. Yeah. It was that kind of vibe to it. But I have like an unashamed love of that movie. And I feel like a lot of people haven't seen it. I saw it like 1,000,000 times. I don't know, VHS, like back in the day.
I liked a lot of Bowie's stuff that was kind of like off the beaten path. Like some of his albums that weren't that popular, I fucking loved them. Like the Bowie album Tonight.
Yeah.
That had Blue Jean on it. And, and fucking Loving the Alien and all that kind of shit. And that's like, for some reason, people don't really like that album. But I like that album a lot. It was kind of a romantic sounding album. You know, it was not really the same as, say, Let's Dance. I think that was the album that came after Let's Dance. But I just loved that album.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Or it was not that
really
long
good
after.
albums. It was really good lyrics on that album. Like in Loving the Alien. And shit. What else was on that?
You know what? I don't think I had that album. I had Let's Dance. I had most of the ones before that. But I don't know.
I went this morning to the cemetery to see old Rudy Valentino buried. Lipstick traces on his name. He never looked down. They were making crazy sounds. Sounds. From Central Park to Shantytown. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I always heard that crazy sound.
Do you guys remember Absolute
Yeah.
Beginners?
Yeah. That's actually, that song is on.
Yeah.
That
Well, that was in
album.
that
It was like an
movie.
EP.
That
It
was
an
a
EP.
movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, because he did some of that. He was in that as well, I
Yeah.
think. I just saw that one time, like a long time ago. DJ Maniac said the Linguini incident was on E all the time.
Yeah.
I just, for some reason, I really, there's something really charming about that movie. It's like, I still remember lines from it. I still remember Rosanna Arquette. I can't remember what the situation was, but where she got like, was she tied up in her house or she couldn't move or something like that? And he came and like untied her or whatever. And she said something like, I got to piss like a racehorse or something. And then I remember her saying, talking to her friend, because when she first starts banging David Bowie, she says, you know perfectly well new sex is like crack. Last time I had a new boyfriend or something like that, I had so many library books overdue that they took away my card or something like that. And it's just like, I don't know, there's something like really, really charming about that movie. It is kind of like a rom-com, but you know, not like a rom-com nowadays, like you'd see on fucking Hallmark Channel or whatever.
I was in my 20s when I saw it. I liked it.
Yeah, it's good.
So, yeah.
I'd have to like watch it again. I saw it a bunch of times when I was younger, but it's really, I don't even remember how I ended up watching it. I probably just saw it on cable and I was like, ooh, David Bowie's in this. That's for me. And I feel like nobody really talks about it anymore. There's kind of movies like that that sort of fall through the cracks. I feel like that one and another one that I was thinking of the other day, because I was going back through some movies that I wanted to do for my show. So I was making a list, and I ended up doing The Reflecting Skin, which for a long time I thought I was the only person that had seen that movie. Like, I thought maybe I had imagined it. But then, like, when I put the review up, like, some people were like, oh my God, I can't believe you did this one, because it's like, I remember this weird ass shit. Yeah, it's one of the weirdest movies ever. There was another one called Closet Land, and Alan Rickman was in it, and Madeline Stowe, I want to say. And basically, I think the two of them were the only people in it. It was almost kind of like a stage play, but it was a movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it had something to do. It reminded me a little bit of, shit, man. What was that movie with Nicole Kidman in it? Dogville? That was kind of like a stage play where all the houses were like tape, like on the ground or whatever. It kind of reminded me of that, but it came out like back in 1991, something. And I saw it on cable and I really liked it. And I think Madeline Stowe was like a children's book author or something. And there was like some kind of trauma in her past or whatever. And he was supposed to be like her psychologist, I want to say. And then he was like trying to get all this stuff out of her. But it was just like, it was real weird. And I remember taping it and I watched it a bunch of times. And I have never heard anybody mention that movie since then.
Sheila Ann comes up with a good one that a lot of people forgot. She said her parents saw David Bowie play the Elephant Man on Broadway.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I forgot he did that. Yeah.
A lot of people, think that Bowie was just a rock star. He was not a rock star. He was an entertainer. He saw himself as an entertainer. And what he really wanted to be was an actor.
Yeah. He was in a shit ton of movies.
Yeah. When
Twin Peaks.
In the 70s, when he's doing rock star shit, he's singing about his fantasies of being an actor. But he was kind of a little bit of everything, kind of like Sammy Davis Jr. He could sing, he could dance, he could act.
Yeah, it was like a Renaissance.
He was an entertainer. Right.
Sheila Ann says Willem Dafoe shows up in The Hunger too. He does indeed. He shows up. He's like a guy that's comes up to the phone booth while somebody else is using the phone booth. Like, he wants to use the phone booth. And that's like, I don't know if that was his first movie, but yeah, I was like, hey, Willem Dafoe. There you go. Yeah, Renaissance man. That's what he was. Yeah, Tila said he was on Broadway. Wow, what an amazing life. Yeah.
Yeah. He also predicted the impact of the internet. I remember it back in the mid to late 90s when he came out, when he gave a speech. He did an interview and he says, people don't realize what this means. We came from a time when there was just one truth and there was one lie. You were told this through television. Now everyone has their own truth and their own lies, because this will everyone will be living in their own world. And this is just how it's going to be. This is how it's evolving. And that's really the way the internet really has done that to the world, not just American society, everybody. It's a network society. It's not a top-down civilization where you have an authoritarian structures saying this is what you will watch, this is what you will wear, this is what you will believe. I mean, they're trying, but it's not working.
Well, I mean, we've talked about this before. I'm like really, really happy that you can just pretty much
You can live your own life.
you can do what you want to do. Like I said,
Yeah.
I can design my fucking board games, I can write my books, I can do all that kind of shit, and I can just do everything from my house and like not have to like deal with anybody else's bullshit about it.
There's more chaos now, but there's more freedom.
You know.
A lot more freedom of choice.
No need for me too. Thank you very much. Space Oddity, I miss the man. Yeah, I'm not one of those people that gets all upset about celebrity deaths. Like sometimes I'll be like, oh man, that's sad or whatever. But
We went out to the club the night he died.
or yeah, either that or the next day.
Or it was the next day. And they
Because
played
I remember
Bowie
I
throughout
was
the whole-
I was at work when I heard about it. So
They played Bowie all night long.
man,
club.
everybody was crying.
Yep.
It was something.
Yep.
Because it was like, I mean, it's Ibar. It was
Yeah.
when it was 80s night.
Yep.
So everybody there was like a massive Bowie fan. It was like
70s and 80s Bowie throughout the all fucking night. It wasn't
Yep.
all Bowie, but it was just lots of Bowie.
yeah.
And everybody knew what was going on.
Yeah, it was like, it was sad, but it was also kind of like cool because everybody was,
You can't sit around and get old forever. Eventually, you got to check out. And he went out like a fucking man, making music videos and singing.
yeah.
He's got videos where he's referring to his own death and fucking merging with the consciousness, with the galactic fucking universal conscious. So he knew what was going on, and nobody else understood it. He released those videos, and they're like, what exactly is going on? Because he didn't tell anybody he had terminal cancer.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the release of the damn videos, or that it made sense why he was making the videos with coins over his eyes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was just kind of he was always very meticulous about constructing his image.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And not like in a bad way, not in a shallow way or anything like that, but he was just very good at managing
And
it.
the motherfucker took the piss out of us fucking up to the very last minute. His dying words to the public were, "Tell them that I was a closeted heterosexual."
That's some Oscar Wilde shit right there. You know what Oscar Wilde's purported last words were, right? Either those curtains go or I do. And then
Okay.
he died. I don't know if that's really what he said or not, but that's the legend. David Bowie's the leader of the largest group of supervillains on Earth. Sure. Yeah, Tila was saying that she really liked Black Star.
Yeah, it was good.
I mean, all his shit is good.
But that's what he was talking about when he was dancing backwards. He comes out of the closet in his room to sing the song, and then he's dancing backwards, going back into the closet. He was a closeted heterosexual.
Back in the closet.
Goes back in the closet.
Just like that. Just like that.
Motherfucker fucking with you and shit.
Just like that South Park episode
Yeah.
about him going
Tom
to the
Cruise
closet.
needs to come out of the closet.
Yeah.
gonna give you
That's what I
nothing
thought of.
Tom Cruise and Kanye need to come out of the closet in the South Park version. He's
Yeah.
a gay fish.
That's pretty.
The gay
Well,
fish song, that was fucking hilarious, man.
I haven't watched South Park in a million years. Is it even still on?
Yeah, it's still on.
I know The Simpsons are still on.
Yeah, it's still on.
And I'm pretty sure Family Guy is still on. I just can't keep up with it, man. I can't keep up with everything. I got so much shit I gotta watch. I got new shit I gotta watch. I got old shit that I gotta watch. I got fucking I'm like I said, I got books I gotta read. Holy crap!
Yeah.
I'm never gonna live long enough to get through all this shit. I got so many lists.
Victor Garcia says Tom Cruise is a power bottom. Yeah, he jumps up and fucking in the air and comes down on you ass first. You gotta aim to catch him on his way down.
He's pretty small.
Yeah.
You could probably.
You gotta aim.
You could put a target. You could put a target around it so
Nah.
you could aim for it.
No, I'm fucking with you, Tom.
He's not watching this show.
Now, just in case, Tom might be watching me, man. Little sawed-off short Toms watch each other. We gotta fucking keep each other. Every short motherfucker's named Tom, and we got
The Short Tom
the
Club.
short Tom complex. We gotta keep an eye on one
It's a
another.
Tomplex.
It's a Tomplex. It's just like, see, we know little people too. We know little people. Like fucking Tito's a friend of mine. He's a dwarf, and he works at Universal. You don't understand the egos involved in little people. All right, dwarves cannot tolerate the presence of other dwarves in their midst.
Because you want to be the only one.
Yes, there can be only one, and he starts fucking saying that kind of shit like he's.
Like he's the
There can
Highlander.
be only one.
Sure.
And he's Latino, so he does it all with an accent. I can't stand that motherfucker. Look at him, look at him. And they had another, because he was younger than him. All right, he was younger than him.
I saw that guy maybe one time. That other guy.
Had the other dwarf out there dancing with fucking full size women, and they were cute, and they were fucking, oh, look at him, he's dancing. And fucking Tito's standing next to me, goes, look at that motherfucker, I can't stand him, look at him.
Yeah, he was wigging out.
Yeah, look at him. He goes, Tom, I want you to go take me up and throw me off. I want you to throw me off.
Yeah, he wanted
me to
Tom
dwarf toss him.
Throw him off the balcony.
Throw him off the balcony into the crowd.
Onto that guy. Yeah.
Yeah. He was serious, too. He goes, dude, man, would throw you. Yeah, man, I can do it. Because he was involved in dwarf tossing and wrestling and shit like that. So he's an acrobat. He's an entertainer. And I was like, dude, you can get me in trouble. He goes, yeah, I get you in trouble for dwarf tossing. It's fucking funny,
Yeah, he thinks that shit's hilarious.
Yeah.
I love Tito. He's awesome.
Tito, yeah.
I haven't seen him in a while. Like I said, he works at the cat shelter too.
Does he?
Like he works at Universal and he's like a minion and stuff. But
Yeah.
he either works or he volunteers.
Yeah.
At ASPCA or something like that. Like he's a big cat guy.
Yeah.
So he's always like trying to adopt cats out.
There's a bunch of them up there at Universal and at Disney, and they all know each other, and they're all vying over the same girls. They're all chasing after the same dwarf girls, and they're real judgmental about who's got the best figure, who's most proportionate, who's
just like any subculture.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Who's got the best face? Who's got the best voice? Who's the smartest? The egos are fucking huge, and they really they talk to us. We're the normies. They're mostly doing the shit because of the competition between them, and then they start fucking with each other about what their jobs are. Oh, that motherfucker's working at Disney. Oh, he's working at Disney. And what? Oh, I work at Universal.
Yeah, that's
What's
better.
Fuck Disney.
Tila just said what?
No, I'm just saying anything that is different, they're gonna get on it.
Yeah.
He work at Disney.
Well, like I said, it's any kind of subculture.
Yeah.
The same thing. Gods are bitchy too.
Yeah, it's funny.
Not so much. Well, we're kind of bitchy, but not. We're too old for that shit usually. Tila says, "I'm surprised none of Tom's ex-wives have written tell-all books." Well, he just has the one.
I just have one ex-wife.
He just has the one ex-wife.
Yeah.
And I just have the one ex-husband.
Yeah.
It's not like we have a long string.
Yeah, and I wasn't married to her for very long. We didn't have any children or anything, so she's not like vindictive. She's living her own life.
Living your own life.
I mean, I was with Jenny. I've been with Jenny for about 10 years. I only knew my first wife for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was only with her for like 2 years. So she just was really just a girlfriend, if you look at it in that perspective.
And you were fairly young, too.
Yeah.
Although I don't think you were as young as I was when I got married. But
I think I had just turned 30 when I got married.
Oh, see, I was 22.
I think I had just turned 30.
Yeah, I was married for 15 years. 15
I was 30 and she was probably about 26, 27.
Oh, okay. Well, then there you go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. David June says, Tom sounds like Tattoo from Fantasy Island.
That's
kind of what Tito sounds like, actually.
Tito sounds like.
That's why.
I think he's Puerto Rican. Wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he said he was Puerto Rican, yeah. Victor says, I bought Jurassic Park, the book, but I'm so burned out with school, I don't know if I'm down to do any reading. It's like, I understand that. I really, really the reason that I wanted to start doing the book review show was to kind of force myself to get back into fiction reading again, because I'm really bummed out that I didn't do it, because not only, I used to read a lot. I used to read fucking, 2 or 3 books a week, easy. But for a long time, for years and years, I kind of got into nonfiction. So I missed out on so much horror fiction, and I felt really bad about it for whatever reason. So the past year, I've just been watching all these other booktubers and being give me some recommendations. I have some books that I'm going to reread and stuff, but I was like, what's the best shit you guys have read? It's I'll buy it. So, I got the Kindle Unlimited thing so I can read some ebooks. I have this big pile I'm going to go through. So I've been really trying to fucking at least get 1 book a week.
Tila said, no, Tom Cruise's ex-wives, not Tom.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. They can't because they sign all kinds of
Because the
non-disclosure agreements.
Scientologists will have them killed.
No, during those divorce agreements and everything, they have all these non-disclosure
Allegedly.
acts, and they'd get sued. And during the times that they were all married, they have fucking their marriage and divorce agreements are fucking astounding because it involves fucking studios and fucking talent agents and all kinds of people.
Well, wasn't a lot of that
They're
like
like-
kind of set up? That's what I heard.
Yeah, but they're like brands.
Yeah.
You can't break up and talk shit about each other because it might cause other people to lose money.
Yeah.
So no, when they break up, they can't say anything about each other
Which and
unless you're a B list or C list. But if you're A list, if you're an A list celebrity, no, you.
well, like I said, that
can't
kind
say
of goes, that goes way back. It's like I think
Yeah.
people now are kind of like a little more open than they were back
Yeah.
then. But like back then, you definitely couldn't. If you went to fucking rehab or anything like that, man,
No.
they were just like fucking hushing that shit up.
'Cause,
All
like,
kind of shit they had to hush up. Murders.
Yeah,
Everything.
but back in those days, MGM and those other studios were fucking. Not only were they extremely rich, they were powerful. And they were very corrupt, and they owned the police. They owned fucking. They had mafia ties. If you cost them money, that could cost you your life, especially back in the 20s and 30s.
Well, remember, I don't know if we ever talked about it on the show, but there was kind of I think we did because I think we did like a Hollywood crimes or whatever, like from back in the old days, because we talked about Fatty Arbuckle and stuff. I think I talked about William Desmond Taylor, who was kind of like a silent film dude. He was like an actor and director, and he got murdered. Like somebody shot him in the back. They don't know who it was. I suspect it was probably a girlfriend or something. But basically, he got shot in the back. He was laying in the front of his house, and like his housekeeper or his valet or whatever found him. And the first people they called, not the cops, they called the studio heads. And they sent somebody over. They didn't clean up the crime scene necessarily, but they came and like took out anything from the house that could be incriminating. I mean, it was during Prohibition, so they took out alcohol. They took out love letters that he had from his girlfriends. They cleaned all that shit out. They found it later, but
Yeah.
at the time, like
And the cops were in on all this shit too.
Yeah.
They owned the police. They could get the cops to stop an investigation. They could do anything.
well, I mean, you have enough money,
Yeah.
you can kind of get away
Enough
with it.
money and enough pull, and the police chief fucking likes you because you're helping him out or sending actresses his way. They'll do anything. They're all on the take, especially back in the 20s and the 30s. California government, U.S. government, corrupt. You're on par with Mexico. Yeah.
We're still going, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because I was just gonna say I
I'm
don't
getting
know.
ready to make
Well,
another drink.
well, yeah, I'm gonna need one in a minute too.
Okay.
But well, I always kind of worry like if I haven't had a chat come up in a while. You know what I
No,
mean?
they're talking.
Okay. What's the last thing?
Tila.
Okay. So you're the same as me. Sometimes I worry if there's not a comment for
Yeah.
a little while. I'm always kind of like, oh, you know what I mean? Like
Well,
it's gonna.
Oracle Mums. His comment
Mun.
has.
That's a girl.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a girl.
Yeah.
Her comment hasn't appeared yet,
Oh, okay.
so it's behind the comments.
Yeah, that's what's worrying me.
Yeah.
But maybe
What, do you want to restart it?
No, because maybe it'll be okay. Like
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes it'll do that and then it'll come back. So I'm just gonna like let it ride. My shit hasn't frozen up yet.
Yeah.
So, but you'll have to tell me if anybody says anything past
Let me
that.
go get another drink.
But yeah, honestly, you know what? Speaking of the Jurassic Park book, I don't think. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I've read any Michael Crichton. Maybe I read Jurassic Park. Did I? Man, if I did, I don't remember anything about it. I mean, I might have read it because I feel like I said, there was a time when I was reading like a whole bunch of books a week. I used to go to the library every third weekend and I would just check out this massive pile of books and, read 2 or 3 of them a week. Like I said, sometimes I'd read a book in a day. So there you go. Now see, my shit is frozen, but it looks like we're still going, but I'm getting kind of worried about it. I'm looking at his tablet over there. I'm just going to let it ride. I'm not going to touch anything. And maybe if the internet gods are kind, it will stop fucking with me. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of that kind of, I don't know, like I'm not a big fan of those kind of like, Michael Crichton writes a lot of stuff like like I kind of put him in the same thing with like, Dan Brown and people like that. And I never really got into, I've read a couple books like that, but I never really liked him all that much. I don't like mainstream fiction, I guess. Maybe. I've read a couple like that, but I don't know. I've read a couple Dan Brown ones too. I think I read the Da Vinci Code and that other, what was the other one that was like the sequel to Da Vinci Code? There's even like some horror writers that kind of write like Dean Koontz. Like I've read a couple Dean Koontz books, but there was something about him that just, I don't know, it just kind of like rubbed me the wrong way. And I can't put my finger on what it is. I don't like the way every chapter is written, like, and at the end it always has to be a big cliffhanger. Like I kind of felt like, I don't remember which ones of his I read, but I remember like all of the chapters were kind of like that. And after a while it started to like kind of piss me off because it seemed like he was just writing to a formula kind of thing, which is like, oh, every chapter has to have this big like cliffhanger at the end, so everybody would be like, oh man, I gotta keep reading, you know what I mean? And it seemed like a little manipulative. I don't know, I feel like a lot of kind of real popular fiction I've read has been like that, and it just, I don't know, it gets on my nerves. But I don't know, like I said, I'm much more like a horror fiction person anyway, and I like weird books. I like weird shit. The one I'm reading now, well, I don't know, I guess it doesn't matter. The one I'm reading now, I haven't finished it yet. This is one that I saw recommended by somebody. Like they said this book was like super scary. This is it's called Sealed by Naomi Booth, who I think is Australian. It's an Australian book. And that's like pretty good so far. It's kind of like a
Oh shit! I forgot to bring mine.
Well, that was dumb. Yeah. But the one I read before, and I think the review for that is probably going to go up on Monday. I read one called Pen Pal by Dathan Auerbach, and that originally started as like Reddit posts, like on No Sleep, and then he turned it into a novel later on, and I loved that. I thought that was fucking great. But it's weird because I went on Goodreads after, and then it seemed like the reviews were like super divisive. Like, there were some people like me that were like, oh my God, this is awesome. This is one of the best books ever. And it was so creepy and stuff. And then there were some like 1-star being like, this sucked so hard. It was so badly written, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I didn't get it, but I was like, I don't know, but I loved it.
Yeah, Coma's coming up a lot. We need to see that one again.
Yeah. I feel like, isn't, what's her face? Like, Genevieve Bujold in that, who was in Dead Ringers? I feel like she was in that. Did they make a fucking movie out of every single Michael Crichton book that he ever wrote? Probably. I kind of feel like they did. How many books did that mother... He's up there with Stephen King. Like, I was just writing motherfucking books all day long. He's writing books in his fucking sleep.
Yeah.
I don't understand how they do it. Well, now I do understand how they do it. It's just you have to get up... What Stephen King does, and I know the most about him because I've read all his, like, bios and stuff, is that he has a rule that it doesn't matter if it's a weekend, it doesn't matter if it's a holiday or whatever, he has to write at least 10 pages, at least, every day. So if you do that, then you're going to have like big fucking doorstop novels before you even realize it.
They're in there talking about Tom Cruise's height. Okay, it's very difficult to find accurate information on any celebrity's height. They all lie. Okay. Come on in, Pook.
Hi,
She's throwing the
Pookie.
door open. What's this doing closed?
Why is this closed? That's not
Is it
allowed.
almost time to go outside? Like, I have a feeling, based on looking at Boots and looking at Sylvester Stallone when he's standing at other people, I have a feeling that actually Sylvester Stallone is 5'7".
Yeah.
I just do. But I think they give him like 5'10". And I don't think so. More like 5'7", I think. And I've heard that he's not as big as people thought he was when they met him. But then you look at Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is wearing special shoes and all that kind of shit, and they shoot him in a certain way to make him look better. I kind of think Tom Cruise is somewhere between 5'4" and 5'6". Maybe he's 5'5", which makes him only maybe like a couple inches shorter than Sylvester Stallone. So it's not that big of a difference between the two. But for some reason, Tom Cruise is getting fucking pigeonholed as being the sawed-off motherfucker. There's a lot of sawed-off motherfuckers in Hollywood. You're just not noticing them. And I don't know why they're fucking doing that specifically to Tom. Maybe just because he's done crazy shit. So they have to find a way to fuck with him. What are you doing,
What
Pope?
the hell is she doing back there?
Trying to open boxes.
What's in here?
A lot of what they do and say about Tom Cruise has become kind of he's become a meme, and he's kind of fun to fuck with.
Because he does crazy shit.
He's diabolical. Every people that know him says his motherfucker's diabolical. All right. Poke, knock it the fuck off. Thank you. Do you hear that? She's like, okay.
Then she's gonna start.
It'll wear off
as soon as you turn around.
So where was I? Okay. Talking about Tom Cruise's height.
He's getting distracted.
They try to come up with ways to fuck with Tom Cruise and get underneath his skin. He's not a typical Hollywood person, which that's kind of a good thing, because a typical Hollywood dude is a fucking douchebag. So I'm not gonna say he's cool. I think he's a douchebag too. It's just that I think he tends towards, because of Scientology, he tends towards anti-communist and probably kind of right-wing, but not conservative, not in like a 1980s version of conservative. He's a cultist, which kind of puts him in a more bizarre category. He thinks he's an elite Jedi from a fucking commando unit made by L. Ron Hubbard to fucking stop fucking an alien possession and get these fucking alien souls off of your soul.
Well, gosh, it's a good thing that we have people like him here to do that.
He can stop time. He can slow time down. He can stop time, go back in time, and reverse a problem in the whole track, and then proceed. Therefore, nothing bad can happen to you because you astrally projected backwards in time. There's all kinds of shit supposedly he knows how to do based upon his OT level. It's a fascinating mindset. Do I think there's anything to it? No, of course not. He thinks there's something to it, though. I think he does.
I think, you know what? I think what would be really funny. It's like if I ever met him and he started that bullshit with me or something like that, and he's like, I can do this, that, and the other thing, because that's what he would do. He would just like keep talking, and then I would just like leave a gap, and then I'd be like, big deal, I can do that. He's
got a weird genesis. I mean, he's coming out of a Alasterian Crowleyite style, make a motherfucker a wizard religion, written up by a sci-fi writer, a charismatic sci-fi writer who could bullshit his ass off. Funny fucking mouth, but he was, by all accounts, fucking very popular among the cult, and he was successful. I mean, he built a fucking religion. I haven't built a religion, and it has all kinds of fucking buildings and secret bases, and they're in there LARPing with fucking psychic powers and UFOs and extraterrestrial demons, and it's a trip. And then it's got a paramilitary aspect to it where they're training for mental power, like a Jedi. Mental powers, weapons, some of them, I imagine Tom Cruise can shoot. I have seen him. He can shoot. He was, he can ride motorcycles. He's got a lot of motorcycles, cool ones. He can fly an aircraft. I think he can fly helicopters and airplanes. He owns them, from what I understand.
Well, he's got enough money, so I'm
got a lot of money. So in a lot of ways, he's not really your average actor who's like a joke, who's pretending that he can do all this shit. He really can. So I respect him for that.
But I think that the fact that he can do a lot of that stuff has made him just completely...
He's arrogant.
Yeah.
He's very arrogant. But so is David Miscavige, the guy who runs Scientology.
I mean, because look, Keanu Reeves can do a lot of that shit too.
Cool as shit.
And he's cool as shit.
He's cool as shit.
So you don't have to be like a total fucking taint.
I just think that he's that way because he came from a world of make-believe around a bunch of fake people, so he assumes everybody's fake. In a certain way. You know what I mean? I mean, when he's dealing with... Nah, I don't think he projects that upon, like, say, military personnel who really can fly F-14s. He pretended to fly an F-14. he pretended to fly an F-14 in Top Gun, but there are guys that really did fly F-14, so he's not going to really talk shit about F-14s to them. It's just a very weird situation. I would like to meet Tom Cruise and come to my own conclusion.
Not me.
I'd like to meet him. Why not?
Because I think he'd be annoying as shit.
Well, if that's the case, then you know what I mean. Let the chips fall where they may. I would like to meet Tom Cruise, and have a drink with Tom Cruise, and see for myself what it is you're dealing with. I'm pretty sure a lot of it's exaggerated, but I'm not gonna say he's ultra cool. He's probably a fucking real difficult to deal with, because Scientology would make you difficult to deal with.
Yeah, it does.
It will.
Even just like the people that are down in the fucking trenches and shit are irritating as shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, they're kind of know-it-alls, and they're LARPers.
Yeah, and I can't... Yeah. Oh, that kind of person just pisses me off so much. And like, so I kind of feel like, because even when I worked with the fuckers, and these people were not rich and famous like Tom Cruise. These were just like regular ass motherfuckers in a regular ass fucking job. And they were insufferable enough. Yeah. So I can imagine
how bad he is.
The power and money and everything like that he has would make you like 100 times worse. Yeah. And more insufferable.
I could deal with Tom Cruise.
So no thanks. No thanks.
I could deal with Tom Cruise though. Yeah. Because we're about the same size, and the first thing I do...
Well, probably you could, but like, man, I don't have any patience for that kind of crap. I just don't.
Well, the first thing I would let him know is that fucking, I'm a man. That's like some shit that's like some
you
shit.
You say some sideways shit to me,
I will fucking pull a gun on you, or I'll fucking punch you, okay? I don't play, okay? That's in my history. That's what I did for a living. I will fuck you up, okay? And no, you cross me, you're going to get hurt. All right. So I'd let him know that real fast. I don't give a shit about his lawyers. I'm not scared of doing time. I will fuck you up. Okay? I'll say, yeah, what are you in here for? I fucked up Tom Cruise. All right, yeah, man. I got 6 I fucked Tom Cruise up, knocked his fucking teeth out, stomped on him. All right. So I don't give a fuck. You're dealing with a kamikaze.
You'd probably get all kinds
on
of
my jacket. I come from kamikaze style units. Just look up fucking Tiger Force, man. Fucking 506. But no, I approach you. I give respect. I expect to get respect. We're gonna talk that way. If it goes sideways, I punish you. I just do.
I think
especially if you're a man. If you're a woman, I'll let it slide. But if you're a man, I punish you.
Yeah. I think it'd be funny if he tried to pull some shit and then like, and then you did something and then he tried to do like some wizard shit.
I'd be ready for all that shit.
He's gonna like is he gonna throw chi balls or something like that?
Yeah, he's gonna throw a chi ball.
That's a different thing.
I give him a sweet spot him, you wouldn't even know what happened. You wake up a couple minutes later. What was that? What's this brown slick stain across my face?
Ew.
I'll fuck you up, okay?
You're gross.
I'll get that shit on video, what I did to you.
Yeah, you go.
No, I ain't gonna talk shit about it. I'm just saying that.
You just did, though.
Yeah, I'm done. I know. It's just humor. It's partially humor. I don't think he'd fucking really get out of line. If you show weakness, he'd get out of his line, but I don't show weakness. Fucking look at who I've associated. You've seen me associate with some big scary motherfuckers. We're friends. You know, because I give respect and I give respect back, and fucking, you know, I listen to your stories and you listen to my stories, and I prove my stories and you prove your stories, and we're all fucking friends. You know what I mean? And if you fucking get sideways, it's gonna be bad. But no, I don't think he'd do that. I think he'd probably make me mad by accident, just by his fucking demeanor, because I've seen his demeanor and I could see how a guy like that might go a little bit sideways.
Yeah, I mean, his demeanor pisses me off, right. Just seeing him on TV. So in person, he's probably like way worse.
I kind of think he would make assumptions that erroneous assumptions about me.
Yeah, he probably would. Well, like I said, that's something that I don't, because one thing, and this even came across in the 80s when he was in acting roles. He comes across as a very arrogant, I know everything motherfucker. You know what I mean?
If that's who he really is. Because he's an actor. He might be trying to
but every movie that he's in, he kind of plays that same kind of thing. So I kind of feel like that's probably just what he's like. You know what I mean?
Maybe. I kind of think what it is that Scientology and being an actor, he's exuding strong energy of an alpha male that is very competent. He's basically, what's his name? Ethan Hunt.
Yeah.
Which I love the Mission Impossible movies. I think he's great in them. I think he's a very good performer. Is he a great actor? Actors have fucking range. Dustin Hoffman was a great actor. Okay, he could convince me of some shit. But after a while, he ends up being Dustin Hoffman in every fucking movie. But he did really good shit in some of his movies, like his work in Rain Man. Is Tom Cruise a great actor? No, but he's a great performer.
Yeah, and I think we've talked. Yeah, I think we've talked about that before. It's like, honestly, my criteria for a great actor is, can you make me forget you are acting, and can I forget who you are, even if you're famous? No. I have never, for one single moment, forgotten that was Tom Cruise.
No, it's always Tom Cruise. It's Tom Cruise playing himself, or playing alpha version of himself. Just because it's on screen, it's an illusion. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to judge him based upon his on-screen illusion, his on-screen persona. He's performing. Like in that Mummy movie, that thing fucking bombed. I actually liked that movie.
I did not.
I liked it. I thought it was a good old school style blockbuster. Okay? It came out late. That should have been something from like 5 years earlier. They should have just kept rolling with it and leaning into it and making more of them. It was kind of like Underworld. It should have actually.
I didn't like Underworld either.
Underworld made a lot of money, though.
I know it did, but I didn't like it.
Should have been going around the same time as Underworld.
That's what I was saying. That's what it reminded me of, which is probably why I didn't really care for it. I don't like that. I'm not a big fan of that horror action crossover kind of thing. It can be done well. Like, I liked Blade. I like that kind of stuff. But a lot of the movies that kind of came out around that time that were like, it's like a horror movie, but it's like a big action kind of, there's kung fu and shit. I don't know, man. I don't like that. Like I said, if I want to watch a horror movie, I want to watch some like disturbing, scary shit. I don't want to see like kung fu and all that kind of crap. That's like, put that in an action movie. I don't like those hybrids. No, with some exceptions. There are some exceptions, obviously. But in general, which is why I knew that I wasn't going to like The Mummy, because I saw the trailer. And I was kind of like, oh, I'm suspecting that it's going to go like in an Underworld direction. And I didn't like Underworld. And so when I saw it, I was like, yep, that was pretty much exactly what I was expecting. Yeah. That was exactly what I was afraid of. And I don't care for it.
Rick said that last Mission Impossible movie was badass. Not going to lie, though. Yeah, I think it was. I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. We saw it in the theater.
Yeah, it was every bit as good as the newer James Bond movies. Which, man, the James Bond movie that they're making right now, man, they fucking reshot so much of that shit over and over again. That motherfucker's gonna bomb. And when MGM is selling, that's part of it. Is because they spent so much fucking money on that movie. You just lost your.
No, it went away a long time ago. I'm just kind of hoping that it'll come back at some point.
Hopefully the stream won't crash, people. If it does, we'll be back. Go ahead and take a break. We'll be back a couple minutes later. We'll fucking reboot.
But I'm just like I said, because sometimes if you just let it ride, because sometimes like my shit keeps freezing up, like the screen that I'm looking at. But if you just kind of like keep talking and keep going, sometimes it will come back on its own. So I'm kind of hoping, because I have a thing that's supposed to just reconnect like automatically.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, the only time that I actually have to restart is if the whole shit just freezes and I can't even move the mouse or anything.
Yeah, Victor says Amazon's buying MGM. Yeah, they're buying MGM, and Amazon's gonna lose its ass. I would never buy MGM.
Amazon has so much money, they probably don't give a shit.
They better.
I mean,
because that catalog is not gonna make much money, I don't think.
Well, like I said, I mean, Amazon Prime is kind of like their big massive thing, and I kind of like Amazon Prime because they offer pretty much anything you want to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, is on there, even if you got to pay a couple bucks to rent it. So it's like, I'm not really worried about it. Anything that's going to like expand the catalog, I think is going to be.
For over a year, Hollywood, AMC, Hollywood in the theaters chains did not want to admit what was coming. And what was coming is the digitization and live streaming of all the movies and the death of movie theaters. Or at least the death of large movie theater chains.
Like multiplex type.
Yeah, I think there'll be theaters, and they'll just live stream like you do at home, and you're eating dinner while you're watching, and it'll be.
Well, like I said, if you have something like that, like Alamo Drafthouse, or like the Enzian Theater in Orlando, where it's like a cafe, you can get wine, you can get food, and they'll do like themed nights, like we're gonna do all these cult movies like all night, we'll do David Lynch all one night or something like that. It's like people like to go to that because it's like an event, Yeah. I think things like that will survive. Yeah. But it has to be like a specialty thing. But that's kind of the way everything's going.
Everything's going that way.
There's nothing wrong with that.
So, I mean, the whole idea that you can live stream a brand new movie from home, that was something that rich people have had for 15 years. It's just that you didn't know about it. And that's something, they've been doing that forever. And they just did it under different guises. Like they would have an AMC theater on their private compound with a fucking, it looked like you were walking in a damn theater. It might have only had one theater or maybe two, but it had the popcorn and all that shit. And they'd have movie night and go by themselves or with their girlfriends or their girlfriends and their fucking entourage and go and watch a movie and live streamed digitally on a screen. They've been doing that for fucking, I think, 10 years. But that was only the very ultra rich, you know? And it would say AMC. It would be an AMC decor. They would pay for it all, though. That's all obsolete now. Now you can do it through your smart TV.
Well, yeah.
So it's funny, you know, I mean, you got people bitching about modern life. You can go down to the hood and motherfucker's got AC, and in his pocket he has a fucking device that a fucking imperial lord from fucking 200 or 300 years ago could have never had dreamed of having access to that much power and information just in his fucking pocket. And the idea that you don't have dirt floors and you have fucking central air or just even a window unit, you know, and that you could get fresh food that wasn't rotten and didn't have fucking bugs in it. These are things that only very, very fucking rich people had, even up to just like 100 years ago.
Well, yeah. Well, and like I said, even in our lifetimes, remember if you missed a movie at the theater,
that was it.
I mean, you missed it. It's like you either had to wait until it came out on cable, like a year or two later, maybe, or it came out on TV, or if you wanted to rent it, like sometimes, I mean, when we were kids, you didn't really, you could rent it later on. If you wanted to buy it, it was like $100 like for one fucking VHS tape.
Yeah. People take all this shit for granted. We are now experiencing the fucking highest point in human civilization. Even though some shit's falling apart, it's falling apart because it's fucking obsolete. I've been studying this shit. I don't do just this show. I sit around and listen to fucking some of the greatest fucking independent thinkers and professors the world has ever known. How? Fucking YouTube, of all fucking things. You can get any information and listen to any wise man from across the fucking world.
Or a wise woman.
What's that? You know what I'm talking about.
I'm just fucking with you.
It's we are living in times of unprecedented resources and fucking freedom and mental freedom. Free your fucking mind. Stop fucking judging things based upon what other person tells you. Look at it in historical context. We are all, even the poorest of us is extremely rich compared to even just 50 years ago.
Well, yeah.
Even 50 years ago, yeah.
I already know that. So
there was fucking, what was that? I think it was Howard Hughes or one of the JP Morgans, spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to make an air conditioner just to air condition one room to keep it at about 68 degrees. And the air conditioner was the size of a fucking room.
Well, yeah.
Built on top of a thing. Even though just a fucking $200 window unit could do what that thing could do, and he spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on an air conditioner.
Well, yeah. Remember how like big computers used to be? Computer used to like take up a whole fucking. You had to have a whole big fucking facility to put that shit in. Yeah. Shit that you can do on your fucking phone now. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And YouTube, when television appeared, it actually started to cut into the profits of Hollywood and theaters. But it was considered trash. Yeah. Really. Trash. Television. Television now is better than anything that would have ever been in the movies in the 80s. With these new series,
Well, yeah, like I said, it's almost kind of like a second golden age. Yeah. Because I feel like there was a lot of good shit on like in the 80s and stuff too, but...
Maybe the writing wasn't that good, but the way, the quality of the filming and the music and the special effects, oh man, that's better than Star Wars of the 70s.
I mean, do you know what was like a precursor of that was Twin Peaks? From the 90s. I guess so. Because that was kind of the first
big budget.
Well, that was like kind of one of the first like TV shows that was structured and thought of like a film, like one big long film, and it was kind of like really revolutionary for the time. So look what that fucking did. You know what I mean?
Zachary says, "I'm so glad I don't live in an era." He said he spent $5 super chat. I'm so glad I
Thank
don't
you.
live in an era of cropped and pan scanned VHS versions off what is that?
What am I looking at?
Anamorphic. Anamorphic movies.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny for us because we saw a lot of these kind of old movies, like horror movies and sci-fi and stuff, and we saw them a lot growing up, and you saw them either on TV or you saw them on VHS, and they kind of look like crap, and it's kind of like you still enjoyed them, but the quality was kind of shitty. So for a long time, you just thought it was like this cheap throwaway kind of movie, and then now that it's been restored and you see it on Blu-ray, you're like, wow, that's actually gorgeous.
Yeah.
That looks really nice. It's like that was made by competent people, where you thought somebody just like filmed it with a fucking,
Victor said 2 things. He said, I sold my AMC stock just today. And then later on he goes, YouTube is not research. Yes and no. Depends on where you're looking.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
You can actually go on YouTube and fucking listen to TED Talks. You can directly access NASA. You can directly access fucking dissertations from scholars from all around the world. You can go in there and watch live streams of what's happening inside the Senate or the Congress. It's unparalleled to anything in history. You can access the works of fucking great authors on audiobooks through YouTube. YouTube has fucking problems. I mean, it's not going to be the platform of the future. There's going to be better ones coming. Things that are uncensored. Things that you pay for that are like encrypted or real secure. Blockchain type shit where a third party can't come in and stop it or block it. As time goes on, you're going to have freer and freer access to fucking information that you would have paid thousands and thousands of dollars for by going to some university. But no, instructional stuff. Quick tutorials on how to assemble and disassemble fucking a dryer or a washing machine, how engines work, fucking how to assemble and disassemble firearms throughout the fucking ages, history of firearms, history of individual units, military units in all the wars. It's all there. Even the interviews with guys that fought in certain battles. It's YouTube. You can laugh at YouTube. But there's so much fucking great information there if you know what to look for.
Well, yeah, it's just a platform.
It's just a platform.
I mean, there's good shit on there. There's a bunch of terrible shit on there. It's like, as long as you know what you're looking for.
You can find the works of Friedrich Nietzsche, an audiobook for free right there. And sit there and listen to all his fucking books. Same thing with Arthur Schopenhauer. All right, anything. Or Schopenhauer. People getting mad. It's not Schopenhauer, it's Schopenhauer, whatever. Okay. I'm white. I'm an American from fucking the South. I'm gonna Schopenhauer.
I'm gonna say shit wrong.
Matter of fact, I saw it pronounced in in an old dictionary that I had because I looked it up with a K in the pronunciation. So it might be just regional. I don't know.
I mean, I always thought it was Schopenhauer in most languages. I mean, ch sounding like ch, that's not really a thing. I think it's a thing in Italian, but only if it's followed by an I. Okay, if anybody. I only studied Italian for like a year, so I don't really remember. But I thought normally it's pronounced like a hard
with a K
C sound. Yeah. I think, but I could.
I remember seeing it written in the pronunciation.
The only languages I've studied are French, Spanish, and Italian a little bit, and Welsh. And in Welsh, CH is always like a hard sound, I think.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember, but yeah. Yeah, so see, my shit caught up.
Yeah, I did catch up.
Sorta.
So all the
I knew if I waited long enough.
Yeah.
If I just
you're about 8. You're about
but it was better. What happened is
yeah.
I have my OBS window open and then I have the YouTube chat window open. And what ended up happening was the YouTube chat window, it stopped and then it went black. Like everything went black. It just went away, but it was still going. And then it kind of came back, but it was blank. There was nothing there. And then it kind of went black again. And then it just now came back.
Yeah, I got a lot of people in there backing me up there, saying all the great poetry and authors and everything and philosophers, they're on YouTube.
Well, and I listen to like old Victorian ghost stories and shit like that. I love to watch.
It's a good platform for certain things. If you want very spicy language and just funny shit, if you want to go back in time the way YouTube was in the fucking 90s or early 2000s, it's BitChute. BitChute, you're going to have crazy motherfuckers just of all stripes on there because they're not being censored. And that was the internet I grew up with, came up with. Was you never knew what was going to be on there. Somebody dressing up in damn women's clothing with a damn bunny rabbit hairdo, beating off and fucking hitting himself in the head with a damn bottle. It was crazy shit that used to be on the internet. Crazy.
Well, that's still on there.
It would be on there, but it would take a long time to take it off, or sometimes they'd never take it off, or just creepy videos, or somebody just talking about crazy shit. There was one YouTube channel that I used to check, I subscribed to, but then I had to silence it. It was a Russian woman who would post probably about 6 times a day, who had schizophrenia, who would talk into her phone Russian gibberish and dance around and then point at things and then would talk about Putin. I could hear her saying Putin.
Sounds riveting.
Couldn't understand it. It was just fucking hilarious. You know what I mean? After a while, like, she's posted too many times. And the comments on it were fucking hilarious. The comments were hilarious. Because she'd just be pointing at her pillow and yelling at it and fucking saying Russian gibberish. And you could tell that she was schizophrenic.
See, to me, that kind of stuff is maybe funny for like 30 seconds, and I'm like, okay, that's getting old.
Well, yeah, eventually, then that channel disappeared. That became marginal content.
Well, I don't really want to laugh at somebody with mental health issues. You know what I'm saying?
I was laughing at the comments, really, because the comments. There's a running discussions of, because she would also, record her social worker, who was a young guy, who would come and check on her and help her out, make sure she was taking care of herself.
It's kind of like that weird channel with like that Korean woman that was kind of like stuck in her apartment and she thought people were she sleeps all the time. Remember that weird ass channel?
I don't know that one.
It's real famous. I think when we did that show about like weird YouTube channels, I think we talked about it on there, but I can't remember what her name is. I think she's Korean.
I didn't see that one.
But she has schizophrenia too, I think.
Yeah.
And it's the same kind of thing. She sleeps most of the time. She films herself 24/7 pretty much.
Okay, yeah.
And she also has schizophrenia, and she thinks that people are coming and like doing stuff and like moving stuff around in her apartment or whatever.
Recording it to keep track of it. Make sure they keep them away.
It's kind of sad, but it's like kind of creepy. But I guess like they have somebody, she's kind of famous, so I guess people kind of come by and like make sure she's not doing anything bad. Like she's not hurting herself or whatever, but she has somebody that's like looking after her, but it's like pretty weird. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like, I mean, I do a lot of, I watch a lot of documentaries on YouTube usually about whatever, topic we're going to do for the show. Because I like to read a bunch of shit about it, and then I like to have some documentaries about it going on in the background so I can kind of get, so I try to do that. But mostly, I mean, my YouTube suggested feed is either all cute cat stuff or horror movie stuff or murder stuff is pretty much all of it. And scary stories. Like I really like, because sometimes if I'm working on something like graphic design or whatever, then I usually like to just have, if you go to like Mr. Nightmare or like channels like that where they just have like a 6-hour video of just somebody with a cool voice like reading like creepy ass true stories that people have sent in like from Reddit or whatever.
I subscribe to a British dude named Mark Felton, and he's a historian, a military historian, and he'll make video specials with photos about just weird stuff that happened in wars. It could be any war. World War II, World War I, Vietnam, even the newer wars. And it's just like strange aspects, like what happened to Hitler's car? You know what I mean? Weird shit like that. What happened to what was his name? Hermann Göring's boat. He had a private yacht. And it still exists. Somebody owns it. And the history of that yacht. Lost Nazi gold. Rumors of the Nazi super weapons like the Bell. He talks about that, There's one he put out a couple weeks ago about the 63rd Waffen SS division, which were all recruited from prison. Weird, huh? They were all recruited from prison, and the leader was a fucking known child rapist. He was ex-military, but they put him in charge of this thing. And they did fucking crimes that were so heinous, they were an internal security unit. that they actually the normal SS commanders fucking thought that they had to be deactivated, that they were like embarrassed of the shit that they were doing, and they were doing things like they went into Poland and fucking annihilated an entire orphanage filled with children, and they did it with bayonets.
That's pretty fucked up.
They were ordered to do it.
It's still pretty fucked up.
Weird though, huh? I mean, that's like, wow. They said, don't waste ammo, just go in there with fucking bayonets. And they bayoneted all these kids in the orphanages. For some reason. That was like, that was just like one of the things. They were just trying to clear out people. It was a war of annihilation. We have to annihilate these people because we don't like them, you know. And we're not going to pay for their orphans. So kill all their orphans. Imagine the dudes, what kind of dude it takes to do that.
A psychopath?
Yeah. They were saying they were sexual psychopaths too. They were raping everybody. They were raping people and then killing them.
That's great.
And it kind of like explains some of the stuff I'd heard about what had happened on the Eastern Front. And it was probably the 63rd that was doing that. The SS divisions were like, these motherfuckers are unacceptable. And that's bad when the SS divisions are saying these motherfuckers are unacceptable.
Yeah, you're pretty fucked up when even the Nazis
The
are pretty like, yeah, that's going a little far.
These guys
okay?
gotta go,
like, dial that back.
Yeah. You guys need to look that one up, man. The 63rd Waffen SS. There's a whole history of that. And it was kind of classified, but the information's out there now. And they got, in the end, the Germans fed them to the damn war machine fighting the Russians. Only like 20 or 30 of them survived.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had no intention of those dudes ever surviving the war. That's a weird thing when you think about it. Let's get these guys out of prison to kill our enemies, and then we'll just throw them to the Russians.
Well, yeah.
And have the Russians kill them.
Well, then you don't got to deal with them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I can see where they're thinking.
That's exactly what they were thinking.
Fourth Throwdown says, I found an audiobook of Jenny's latest recommendation, The Lost Apothecary. That was a pretty good book. I didn't love it, but it was pretty good. It wasn't really a horror novel. It was more like a historical fiction-y mystery thing. But I'm always down for shit about poisoners. So, I love that kind of shit. Oracle says, recently I've gotten fond of channels focusing on the history of clothing. See, I like real specific... There's this one dude, I can't remember what his fucking name is, but he's a British guy, and he watches historical movies. He's like a historian. He watches historical movies and talks about how accurate they are. And those are really good. And he goes like super in depth. It's like really good. I was watching his one on Amadeus. I watched all his other stuff. And I also like Dominic Noble, because he does various other things, but kind of his main thing is called Lost in Adaptation, and he talks about the movie versions of books, and he compares like how good the adaptation was from the book, like how accurate and what they changed and shit like that. And I'm just like really interested in that kind of stuff. So I have a lot of kind of shit like that. I like history of food, anything like that. I was, you know what I mean? Like I said, cat stuff, like cat behavior. People training their cats to use those buttons that have words and shit. Because I told Tom, I was like, man, we need to like teach Pookie to talk. I don't think she needs to talk though, because we pretty much know what she's saying.
I know what she wants just by her facial expression.
By her facial expression
and her body language and what she's pointing at. She points at things by going over there and standing and then
she kind of points with her nose.
Yeah, she's that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, if she wants something, she'll come get you.
Yeah, and then go to it.
And she'll be like kind of at your leg going, wee,
and then put her face at it like that.
You're like, come on.
It's usually a bowl.
Yeah.
Or a plate. She wants you to put the food there. And there's food already there. It's not enough.
It's not enough. She's like, I know I'm going to need more than that at some point.
That's the only cat I've ever seen that plans ahead.
She's very smart.
Yeah, she's like, that's not enough food.
Yeah, because we leave a little plate of food for her, like overnight.
Yeah. She does that late at night before we go to sleep, because she knows that she won't get a resupply.
Yeah, because we're not going to get up.
We're not going to get up. So she wants to make sure there's enough there to last her until we wake up.
Yeah.
And that's pretty fucking smart. I'd always heard that animals did not plan ahead.
That's bullshit.
Or,
She totally does.
Yeah. Hell yeah, she does. She knows what later means.
Yeah. And honestly, if you talk to her about, like, you can't go outside right now, you can go outside later.
She kind of understands that.
She understands that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She understands, like, words. She knows what her name is. Yeah. All that kind of shit.
Yeah, if you call her name, she turns around and look. What?
Yeah, she's like, what? What are you talking about? My drink is empty, bro.
Okay. Yeah. Same thing?
Yeah. Well, that's all. Good, that's all we got, right?
I got orange.
I don't know. The lemonade was good. Yeah, Hugo said, I think old people like me appreciate the miracle of having any info at the palm of your hand. I remember, when I was growing up, you didn't have the internet. If you couldn't remember something, like we were kind of like, oh, what was that TV show or what was that actor's name or blah, blah, blah. You had to call the fucking library, man. You couldn't go on the fucking internet. Either that or you would just have to like hope you remembered it because there was no way like you couldn't. It's just funny to think about it now. And it's even funny for me to think about because you don't even, it's so ingrained in our lives now that you can just like fucking know anything you need to know instantly. But back then it was like a huge pain in the ass. Holy crap. I mean, I kind of feel like people don't remember stuff as well anymore. I don't know. I don't know if that's the case though. I still remember shit. But just knowing that you have that fallback where it's just kind of like, if I forget stuff, I can just like look it up on Google. Although the funny thing is like Tom will usually, something that Tom does a lot is he'll be like, we'll be watching a movie or whatever. And he'll be like seeing that he's like, was an actor in that movie? When did that movie come out? I'm like, bitch, I'm not Google. It's like you have a tablet right there. Look that shit up. I don't know. Oh my god. Camp Guy says that he watches he runs YouTube at night while I sleep. Yeah, I like to have those. I really, really like, I don't think it's Mr. Nightmare, but there's another channel that he does like creepy quote unquote true stories, like no sleep type stuff from Reddit. And he will just, it'll be like 6 or 8 hours long. And then there'll be like relaxing, like rain and thunder and stuff like in the background.
We may be losing the connection.
I like those. Uh-oh.
I don't know if we've lost audio though. You might have audio.
Oh, it came back. It came
okay.
back. Yikes.
Okay.
This is pissing me off, man. Just stop it. Be good, internet. Be good.
You guys, we didn't lose audio, did we, guys? It seems to be going.
Yeah, probably not. I mean,
Okay. It said it was a little. T said it was a little hiccup, but we're back.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
I thought. That's what it looked like. Yeah, I like a lot of true crime channels. I like Unresolved. I like Bailey Sarian. She's cute as shit. She puts on makeup and talks about true crime cases. It's super funny. Brain Scratch is good. That guy was on the Elisa Lam documentary, actually. Lord and Arts, I think, is the name of the channel. But yeah, I like that guy. Shit, man. I think I was listening to, because our show on Friday night is going to be about the West Mesa Bone Collector, which is that serial killer that has not been caught in New Mexico. And there was Unresolved. He did like a 3-part really in-depth like documentary about that. So it was like 3 or 4 hours long. So I listened to that. And then I'm listening to the Time Suck as well, but I haven't got all the way through that yet. But yeah, I've been reading shit about that. Are we still on?
Yeah, you're good. I don't know
Okay.
why your shit's freezing up.
Because it always does. I'm
Yeah.
just kind of like, I'm not even looking at it anymore because fuck it.
Yeah.
Oh, and I started, and once I started doing my book review channel, I also started like watching a bunch of other book reviewers. Jordaline is my favorite. Jordaline reads. She's cute as hell. She does, she mostly does horror. She does thrillers. She does some manga as well. Shades of Orange is also good. But there's like a bunch of good ones, you know. I don't know. That's where I get a lot of my recommendations from, because otherwise I wouldn't know what to fucking look for. And usually her recommendations are really good. Some people are talking about Briefcase. I don't think I've maybe seen that, unless I watched some of their stuff and like didn't realize that that's what the channel was called. Because sometimes I'll just do a random search for, you know, whatever the topic is, and then I'll just watch it without really paying attention. What are you doing?
I'm trying to move this thing away from fucking me. It's always in front of me.
Well, it's got to
Okay.
be somewhere where
Can you guys still hear us okay?
we can both
Okay.
hear, like, you know.
Yeah, it's always like right
So
in
now
front
we
of my
both have
phone.
to yell.
Yeah. What I'm going to get is I'm going to get fucking one, and we'll put the a boom.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to get.
All right.
All right, T sent us a fucking super chat. $15. Thank you, T.
Thank you,
Top
Tina.
5 sexiest men or women in horror movies. This is for Jenny and Tom.
This is hard.
And the chat can bring it.
Oh my god. And I'm gonna have to
Well,
look at that. In horror movies.
Crampton would probably be number 1.
Barbara Crampton.
Barbara
She's
Crampton would be number
beautiful.
1.
From Beyond.
From Beyond.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
she was in Reanimator.
She was in a bunch of stuff.
But I think because she had like that outfit on.
Yeah.
From Beyond, I think.
The next one would be the girl from Revenge of the Living Dead, or what was that?
Return of the Living
Return of the Living Dead. That was what's her name. She's in a bunch of shit. Quigley.
Yeah, Linnea Quigley.
Linnea Quigley. Probably number 2.
She's cool as hell too. I met her at a horror convention many
Yeah.
years ago, and she seemed really awesome. Man, this is hard.
Okay.
It's kind of hard for me to think of anybody. Those are good picks though.
Yeah.
I was real into like Jeremy Irons in Dead Ringers. I know that's weird.
I don't remember that one. Oh, that that guy.
He played the twin gynecologist.
Mm.
So I like that. Like you said, the chick from The Howling. I don't know. There's so
yeah,
many.
but she was only in one movie from that I remember.
That's true.
It's got to be somebody who's like regular in horror.
Like
you
kind
probably
of a
have
lot
to
of
say
horror movies. Okay.
Jeffrey Combs. Fucking,
Yeah, I'm gonna say Jeffrey Combs. That's actually that's a pretty good observation.
Jeffrey Combs. There's some really good. We gotta have look. I saw some Jeffrey Combs interviews here on YouTube with some horror fans, and that motherfucker is awesome around fans. And he loves YouTube, and he gets loaded talking on YouTube.
He seems like an awesome dude.
I'd love to have him on the show sometimes.
We should totally get him on the
All right,
show. Call us Jeffrey Combs.
And he's kind of in character. He puts on the serious actor kind of vibe, even though you can tell he's having a fucking really good time. He takes a lot of breaks to take a leak because you can see the edits. He's a dude that enjoys YouTube. He would make he's a very good YouTube guest. He was super impressed with his host who had the resonator from Beyond. He had
That's
it.
right. Yeah, we watched that one night.
Jeffrey Combs has no idea how much of an icon he is. He doesn't
like maybe he does, but it doesn't really seem like
it
registers. Maybe I
Yeah.
mean that seems like a weird. That's got to be so weird.
He pretends that he's not a horror legend. He goes, "You have that one? You have the resonator?
Somebody
Yes,
kept
isn't
that?
it?
Holy crap!
I would like to see the resonator. I have not seen the resonator." So, he cannot believe that people remember all this work evidently that he's done.
I told you, man, horror movie fans will, if you are in like an awesome iconic horror movie, people will remember you forever.
Well, not only did he do Herbert West, he also did some really good shit as a Jem Hadar fucking, I forgot what they were called, like a commander in Deep Space Nine. But my favorite role of his, well, Agent Danvers was cool from
The Frighteners.
From the Frighteners. But my favorite role of him was General Shran.
Yeah.
From
yeah, he was awesome.
Star Trek Enterprise.
He did all that Edgar Allan Poe shit too, didn't he? Like for a long time he
does live theater.
He toured with that theater production where he played Edgar Allan Poe and read from his stories and stuff.
And Jeff Combs, I'm gonna call him Jeffrey. All right, I'm not on a first name basis with him, but Jeff I'm just gonna call
Mr. Combs.
Mr. Combs. Say Mr. Combs.
Be respectful.
Mr. Combs said, "Well, one day once Star Trek really kind of gets ironed out, maybe I would like to do maybe like a movie that had General Shran in it." And really, a lot of people don't like Star Trek Enterprise. If you've never seen that series, it takes a season or two for it to straighten out. But it eventually becomes a very good series. It has one of the best mirror episodes of all times, In a Mirror Darkly 1 and 2, which you won't really grasp until you know all the characters of the series, because their mirror versions are fucking great. And it explains what happened to the Defiant in the original Star Trek with the Kirk. Where'd the Defiant go? Remember Kirk was floating in the spacesuit? The Thalians got it, man. It went into the past. And then in the mirror universe, that's where it went, which is so bizarre, man. But he did a great military man, General Shran. He feels very legitimately like a military general. And he's an Andorian. He's blue with fucking
got a little weird
suction cup antennas. He does a very, very good character, and that's one of my favorite Star Trek characters, was General Shran. He was kind of like Andoria's version of Captain Kirk.
Since you mentioned Jeffrey Combs, I will mention another sexy horror icon.
Yeah.
Bruce motherfucking Campbell.
Yeah.
Bruce.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
If you're gonna throw men in the mix, you gotta throw men in the mix because
Well,
you got
they
girls.
have women and men.
Yeah. So yeah, him too.
How can you not love? And I've read a bunch of his books,
Yeah.
like Make Love the Bruce Campbell Way.
Yeah. Bruce Campbell's great.
If Chins Could Kill. He is hilarious.
Yeah.
That dude is hilarious. And he seems like, well, both him and Jeffrey Combs seem like just awesome dudes.
Yeah.
Because they don't, you know, this going back to what we were saying about Tom Cruise earlier, who seems like an arrogant douche. Neither Bruce Campbell nor Jeffrey Combs seem at all like that. They just seem like super humble, super, you know, grateful for, like I said, I know that it's not like it used to be, because I feel like way back in the 70s and 80s, there was still kind of a stigma about horror. So if you were in horror movies, it was kind of like, oh, you know, you just kind of using it as a stepping stone, like to get into like more serious movies. But the thing about it is that, so I think there was a thing where people didn't really want to be typecast in it because they just thought it was like this shitty, cheap, like ghetto genre. But honestly, horror fans are pretty much the most loyal fans on the planet. So I say embrace it. I never really liked some people that are, you know, that were in horror movies, especially if they were in real iconic ones. And then later on, it comes out, they're like, I didn't really like horror movies. I was just in them for the paycheck or whatever. I'm like, that always kind of like bums me out. I find that really disappointing.
Now, T mentioned William Marshall. He did the 2 Blackula movies as Mama Walde, and he also played Dr. Daystrom.
Yeah.
In Star Trek, the original Star Trek series with Kirk. Those are 2 great iconic roles, I think, in American.
That dude's also pretty sexy.
Yeah. But is that enough? Or is that enough movies? What else did he do?
I don't know, man. That's pretty good. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like if it's iconic enough,
of
that's true. But you know what I mean. If
Because
it's
he wasn't
iconic enough,
known
I'm not bothered.
He wasn't really known just for horror and sci-fi. He did a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
But because you said top 5, see, so I think he might get knocked out. Because you know, I'm gonna say that fucking Eddie Murphy did a great vampire fucking in Brooklyn. I fucking liked that movie. It came out at a weird time. It flopped at the box office. I didn't give a shit. I saw it in Boston when I was in the goth scene, and fucking, I'm a big Eddie Murphy fan, and I fucking liked that movie. I own it. I think it's great.
I think it aged really well.
It aged very well.
I liked it better when I saw it now than when I saw it back then.
Yeah, it's good.
Which is weird. That happens a lot now.
It's got a good hearted vibe to it. It's got a very
Which
good
a lot
tone.
of his movies have. I think that's kind of why a lot of people related to him. I think that's why he got to be such a big star, because his movies really do seem to have, they're not super mean-spirited.
No, and he hasn't changed much.
Not really.
Eddie should make a sequel to that.
Maybe.
I would like to see that.
Maybe someday.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Well, you don't need the money that you used to. You don't need the studios that you could crowdsource a movie like that.
Well, yeah, like I said, there's so many more options nowadays that people didn't have back then.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention earlier that Zach said that he had just listened to an audiobook of No One Gets Out Alive, which is a book that I reviewed a couple of weeks ago by Adam Neville, which is an excellent book, actually. And he said that they're making a movie of it, I guess, which actually that'd be cool. I want to watch that. That was a good ass book. I liked it a lot. You know, I'm gonna read some of his other shit. Gadgy3 said my cat died. Oh no. Please don't bum me out like that. I'm so sorry. That's so sad.
T said Sig Hags was cute, was sexy too. Only in a weird fucking perverse way.
Yeah, but I'm kind of into that though. Like I said, I like weird dudes.
When he was young in that movie, what was the one? It was a David Cameron's first fucking movie. It was a alien ripoff, and he played a dude.
What was it called? Shit. It started with C, right?
I think so. He didn't.
Contamination or
no. They go to an alien planet.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
A young Sig Hays was in it.
Galaxy of Terror.
Galaxy of Terror. Yeah, he was in that movie. That movie freaked me out as a kid.
That was actually a pretty decent flick.
I want to get that bitch on Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's a total alien ripoff.
Total alien
That's okay.
ripoff.
It was still good though. Sid Haig was on.
Victor Garcia sent a $5 super chat.
Thank you, Victor.
Saying, Jenny, I'm weird.
We're all weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I just, you can't be like weird. Like, hey, I'm gonna jack off next to you on the bus. Weird. That's a different kind of weird. I mean, like good weird. You know what I mean? What was I gonna say? Oh, Sid Haig, when he was real young, was in a really weird ass movie called Spider Baby, which was an old black and white movie with fucking Lon Chaney Jr. in it.
Yeah.
It's on Tubi. It's pretty weird. Check it out. It's like from the 60s. and he was pretty much a kid in it. He plays like kind of a special needs mute. Was he mute? I feel like he didn't talk.
Yeah, T, if you're gonna throw a African American guy in there, I think I'd have to agree with you that it would be Snipes.
I was gonna say that, yeah.
He had the 3 Blade movies. He also fucking did a lot of good shit back in the 80s with he played one of my favorite villains of all times from Demolition Man. Fucking he did a great, and Demolition Man is one of my favorite movies. I just watched it a couple days back. What was that character's name? Simon Phoenix. That's what his name was. The Simon Phoenix character was a fucking masterpiece, and the writing of that movie is very good. Aged very well. He also did some really good shit in the Expendables. I think it was Expendable 3. And a lot of people don't like Expendables 3, but I never saw the theatrical version. I own it on Blu-ray and saw the extended version. The part that has the cussing in it. Okay? Because you see, old fucking Jackhole wouldn't let him cuss in his movie. And
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris doesn't allow any cursing in his movies, which fucked Expendables 3
up. What the hell,
up.
Man? What century is it, Chuck?
That motherfucker's not in a century. He's in some kind of a fucking time warp.
He's in a parallel universe.
He's just stupid. All right? He's just fucking stupid. He didn't age well. He didn't mentally age well.
Well, honestly, I remember him pulling this kind of crap, like, even back in the fucking 90s.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, but for whatever reason, my ex-husband was super, super into, like, Chuck Norris movies. Like, he thought he was, like, a ridiculous person.
Yeah.
But he really kind of liked all those, like, cheesy, like, 80s action movies that he was in. And he was kind of, like, a big fan. So I've seen, like, every single Chuck Norris movies, like, multiple times. Even, like, the super shitty ones. Like, the ones where somebody goes to hell. And the ones with the one with the talking dog. Or whatever the fuck that was. Yeah. I don't really remember. Did the dog talk? I don't remember. But I remember hearing, like, all these fucking stories about him that... He would like, I remember this one time where there was a guy that made his living being a Chuck Norris impersonator. Like, you'd hire him out for your fucking, your business opening or whatever. And it's like, they don't say, hey, it's Chuck Norris. They say, hey, it's a dude that looks like Chuck Norris. Come have your picture taken. It'll be hilarious. And Chuck Norris didn't like it too much and he sued that guy.
Damn.
Because he didn't really seem to have a sense of humor.
Fuck Chuck Norris.
And I kind of feel like, remember when those books were coming out, like the Chuck Norris facts and stuff, and those are fucking hilarious, right? Yeah. But I kind of feel like he was kind of not all that down with that idea either. Like,
no, he wasn't.
He was trying to sue that guy too.
Yeah, it took him a while to soften up to that.
Yeah.
And it's because the Army liked it. Army guys were doing Chuck Norris facts, and he finally relented. And it was like, okay, I guess they are okay.
I get
it. He's kind of a stick in the mud. But I don't. Was it 2 or 3? The one that had Snipes in it in Expendables. I mean, it might have been both.
I don't remember. I've only
might have been both.
One.
But he was good in the Expendables. Expendables 3 director's cut on the Blu-ray. If you guys haven't seen that one, see it. It's good. It's very good. That's my favorite one. I haven't seen the theatrical cut. It gives you the option on the Blu-ray. Evidently, everybody hated the theatrical cut. But the extended cut from the Blu-ray is fucking great. I fucking loved it. I thought it was better than 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Just my saying. And Antonio Banderas knocks it out of the park in fucking part 3. At least in the extended cut. Yeah. It's fucking great character.
Somebody mentioned Caroline Munro, obviously.
Yeah.
We've been talking about her a lot.
Is that horror? Well, I guess it's Hammer horror. Caroline? Yeah.
Yeah, and she was in like some sci-fi and fantasy. That counts. Yeah. Tony Todd, again, that's another good one. Yeah. He played Candyman. Drew Barrymore, okay. Caroline Munro in anything. Candy Clark in The Blob, okay. I like that. She was actually in a lot of good shit. I feel, wasn't she in shit, man? She was in Cat's Eye, wasn't she?
Yeah.
I want to say she was in Cat's Eye, the Stephen King like anthology movie.
I want to talk about a little bit about Snipes though.
Okay.
Think about Snipes, all right? For you, some of you guys who are old enough, and I imagine T, she's probably old enough too to remember. Snipes was one of the first dudes from that era in Hollywood when we were coming up. Is that Snipes was black, like dark black. He was dark black. He was like the ginger of black people, and gingers are the white people of white people. Okay,
That was pretty deep, Tom.
like that's it. And then and this was in an era where if you saw when you saw black people in a movie, they were kind of light skinned, as if like trying to bend the knee towards white people or something. They're white. I can't explain it. I don't know the thinking of Hollywood at the time. I think they thought that dark-skinned black people would not be popular on the screen. They were wrong. Even though fucking, I don't know why they were like that. Because in Rocky and in fucking Predator, man, I'm fucking drunk. I can't remember my fucking boy's name. Carl Weathers.
Yeah.
Carl Weathers was dark
He's
skinned
like getting
too.
on, he's whacking my chair and stuff.
Yeah, Carl Weathers, and I was a huge fan of Carl Weathers. I had an element.
He's pretty rad.
I had an element of hero worship on Carl Weathers. All right, and that went back to Predator 1. Later on, he came out with a movie called Action Jackson.
That was a great movie.
I saw it in a theater, and it was
I did
packed.
too.
This theater was packed with white dudes watching it and loved that movie, and that was in Michigan. And I have no idea why there was never a sequel to Action Jackson. It was like an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, but it had Carl in it. And Carl is on Mandalorian, and he's directed some of those episodes of Mandalorian, and you know what I mean. And they were fucking great episodes. That dude is a unused talent. And that he aged real well. He aged a lot better than.
Well,
Arnold.
I mean, him and like Keith David and like all
Yeah.
this, like they just seem like
Keith
they
fucking,
still look
Yeah.
the same pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
they look older, but not really that different.
and like that was another thing. Fucking Keith David.
He was just in what creep show episode
Yeah.
we saw the other day.
Yeah, Keith David impressed the shit out of me when I was a kid. Fucking in what was that one? Fucking what was it called? The first thing.
Man, I love his voice.
Keith David and Crussell. All right.
Yeah.
And Keith David he had a real fucking tough guy swagger to him, you know, and he intimidated me, but it turned out he was like a hero, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I fucking liked it. And then there was that scene where fucking Crussell fucking goes, nah. We need somebody a little bit more of fucking even-tempered, Childs. And he's like, oh, yeah, I see how this is. The white dudes. The white dudes are in charge. Yeah, you motherfuckers. I fucking, you can read it at the time, you know what I mean? You're like, wait a minute, hold on. Because Crussell, the McCready character in fucking The Thing was a fucking great character. Fucking, that whole movie was that was Carpenter's masterpiece.
I mean, easily one of my favorite horror movies ever. Easily.
And that movie broke Carpenter. When E.T. kicked that movie's ass, his movies were never really quite the same. It's almost kind of like he started saying, fuck it.
Well, he got kind of disillusioned.
Yeah, I could tell. Because that movie was fucking great. It took a long time for that movie to get the appreciation that it deserved.
I mean, I'm glad it
Everybody
finally
in it was
did.
great.
And
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, nowadays, everybody realizes, holy crap, that's like one of the best horror movies ever made.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would disagree with you on that.
It was a total immersion movie. You bought it. Even though that some of the effects were kind of cheesy by today's standards, it's
Were
still...
they though? I think the effects still look pretty good, I think.
They look pretty good. I'm just saying that on Blu-ray, you can tell that that's rubber. You can tell that this is that. They still look cool. In those days, it was mind-blowing. Okay, wow. And at the end, man, you got fucking Crussell, fucking and Keith David and shit wrapping that up. That movie. They're out there in the fucking cold. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. And you know what I mean? You're like, I have a feeling that fucking Crussell fucking cooked Keith David. Because remember how when he was playing chess against the computer, he was you cheating bitch, and he poured the fucking
Yeah.
whiskey down inside the computer and fried it. Well, he says, well, I guess it's just me and you. And you're just supposed to sit here and just go to sleep. And he hands fucking Childs that fucking whiskey bottle. He goes, I guess so. And it made me think that was the same as pouring the whiskey down into the computer.
Which it might have been.
Because he still had that flamethrower. Remember, he had the flamethrower on his back.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if they were kind of suggesting that that fucking Russell cooked him, thinking that he was the thing.
Yeah, maybe. Well, like I said, that's a fucking brilliant.
I got to go back and look. Did Russell still? I mean, did Childs still have his earring in though?
See, now we got to go watch it.
I got to go back and see that again.
The thing is, one of those movies, just like The Shining, where I could watch it like every single day and never get tired of it. Camp Guy's talking about Divine eating real dog shit in Pink Flamingos. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I mean, I honestly love John Waters movies, and I love Pink Flamingos, but I can't watch that scene. I have to turn away. It makes me gag. But I mean, you know, Divine, he was a trooper. I will say that. Also, he was great in Hairspray as Tracy Turnblad's mom. They did the remake, and what's his ass? John Travolta played the Divine role, which I thought was kind of interesting, because I'm like, look at John Travolta playing Divine. You know what I mean? Essentially, like being like in a, you know, being in drag and everything. And I was kind of like, you know what? Good for him. Good for him. I thought that he would be too self-serious to do that, but I was kind of happy. I didn't love the remake, but it was okay. It was like better than I thought it would be. Victor says Chuck Norris is lame as fuck. I agree.
Yeah.
He is pretty lame.
T says, yes, Snipes is deeply chocolate. And then,
he's deeply chocolate.
Yeah. And then fucking Gilded Age goes, Snipes was dark. And then fucking Gilded Age Phoenix says, Snipes was black. No way, Tom. This was serious acid, dude. And then
Tom's so observant.
Yeah, and T says, yeah, colorism was big in Hollywood. It's big in Hollywood, yeah. And then they start talking. And then David June says Carl Weathers buys all his cars at police auction. Well, hey, that's a good place to fucking get them.
They're cheap.
All right. DJ Maniac says, and Bill Duke is still the blackest man on earth. Yeah, Bill Duke was fucking great too, though, man. He was fucking great.
Yeah, he is also awesome.
Man, he was in a lot of my favorite movies: Commando, Predator 1, Mandy. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he was in that.
Yeah, in that.
He was the one that gave Nicolas Cage the fucking axe and all that.
Yeah,
shit.
He's in the trailer. The fucking flies are landing on his head. And the flies in his trailer and shit. That's fucking funny.
Oh man,
he was a great character.
Yeah, he was only in that one scene though, wasn't he?
Yeah,
it was just like a cameo.
Yeah,
that was so fucking good though.
Yeah.
Dave says Chuck Norris is a jerk. If I could change one thing in the world, I'd change all Chuck Norris memes to Keanu Reeves memes, because they're funny and at least they'd be celebrating a genuinely cool guy.
Yeah.
See, that's what I mean. I feel like Keanu is like much cooler than.
They're saying Amityville 2 was good.
Didn't we just watch? Did we watch Amityville 2 the other day, or was it one of the other ones? Because do you guys know? I did.
Yeah. We saw that one. Yeah, it was pretty good.
It's pretty good.
It was actually closer to the real fucking.
I remember the first couple. They used to show them on cable a lot back in the 80s, and I remember them being like pretty decent.
Yeah.
I did not realize this until I was looking at. I don't even know why I was looking at because we watched the second one. There are, I think, 19 Amityville movies. 19. I'm pretty sure there are 19 of them.
Yeah.
Somebody keeps making the shit. But the thing about it, because the Amityville Horror, I mean, obviously that particular story, which was based on the true story written by Jay Hansen, which I don't think that was true. That's why I'm using the bunny rabbit ears. But the story itself, the true crime, that's a true story. So you can make a movie about that. There's no copyright on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like the Villisca axe murders or anything like that. You can make a movie about that about that shit.
David June sends a $2 super chat. Does Tom have a Jack Nicholson impression? I could probably do it, but I had to be a little bit drunker. I had to be in the mood for it.
Really? You're pretty drunk though.
No, I'm not that bad. Tila goes, Bill Duke was in Car Wash. I haven't seen that in a long time. Got to see Car Wash.
Oh my God. Wasn't George Carlin in that?
I think so.
George Carlin was in that, right? Richard Pryor was in that.
Amityville 2, I remember it being. We saw it recently. It was good, and it was closer to the original.
Yeah, didn't
DeFeo
Shudder
murders.
just add it?
Yeah, it was real close to the original case.
I think that's why we watched it recently, because I think
Right.
Shudder just added it not too long ago. Maybe if you guys could, I don't remember. But I remember we watched that one, and I was like, well, I was thinking that there was other shit. I think the one that I remember seeing a bunch of times, like on cable, was maybe the third one. Because I feel like on cable they used to show Amityville 2 and or 3. Then they would show Psycho 2, which I think a lot of people thought was like a crappy movie, but it's not. It's actually excellent. And honestly, I've seen some horror channels, and I don't agree, but I'm not going to hate, that will tell you that Psycho 2 is better than the original Psycho. I wouldn't go that far, but Psycho 2 is actually really, 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 really good. I mean, just way better than it has any fucking right being. So, you know, if you haven't seen it, I would suggest searching it out. Also, and I've been meaning to rewatch this one too, Anthony Perkins was in another movie. When did it come out? 84, 85, I want to say. I could be totally wrong. And it was called Edge of Sanity. Because, you know, since he was Norman Bates, everybody's like, oh, let's put him in a movie where he's like a crazy person, because he's obviously really good at doing that. So they put him in a movie called Edge of Sanity. I remember that being good, but I haven't seen it for many years. It might totally suck. But I did see that it was on Tubi, so I put it on my list because I kind of want to rewatch it just to see what it's like. You know what I mean? Somebody's talking about a camp guy. Another creepy as hell Stephen King short story is called Dedication, about a hotel maid that eats the semen off a rich writer's bed sheets, and then her son becomes a writer. That seems a little off the wall for Stephen King. I need to read some of his newer shit. Like I said, I think the newest thing of Stephen King's that I read that I can remember is Under the Dome. I think. I remember I read... Shit, man, I don't even remember when that came out. I remember Under the Dome because I checked it out of the library. From a Buick 8. I had checked that out of the library. Or maybe I bought the hardback when it was, like, cheap. I don't remember. But after that, I hadn't really read a lot of his new shit. And I was, like, actually amazed when I looked back and looked, like, how much new shit that he has put out that I'm just kind of like, I can't keep up. Like I said, I got all these other people's shit I got to read, too. Fuck, man. Knock it off.
Package.
Did I?
Yes, this may be from a patron.
Oh, look, Esther. It's like, yeah, she was asking me earlier if I got this.
You also got
There it
super
is.
chat from Gadgy 3.
Thank you.
£5.
Thank
Shout
you.
out for Daisy, my wee pal. Thanks for noticing the non-lighted post. Kiss. Shout out for Daisy. Okay, thank you. Shouting out. Give a shout
Hi,
out to
Daisy.
Hey,
Hi,
there,
Daisy.
hey.
Yeah, look, Esther, here it is. Hell's Wasteland, the Pennsylvania torso murders. Yeah, remember we did that show a while back about the Cleveland torso murders, or otherwise known as the Mad Butcher Kingsbury Run. And remember I mentioned on that show, I don't think I went super, super into it, but I mentioned on that show that there had been like some other weird, like, kind of torso. Okay. Will you be good? Okay. Is her clothes on?
No, I'll put them on.
Put her clothes on.
Come here.
She's like, what? Where are we going? Put her clothes on before she goes outside. But yeah, so there were some other crimes where, because the Cleveland torso murders, I mean, that shit was fucked up. They just like, hey, look, we found a torso, or hey, look, we found a head in a can, or some shit like that. This was like back in the fucking 20s, 30s. Can't remember. But there were some related murders that happened in Pennsylvania also. And I think I just kind of touched on the show. But Esther was kind of like, hey, we just got this book. And it's all about that shit. Like the ones that happened in Pennsylvania. And I was like, she was like, we got 2. You want one? And I was like, fuck yeah, I want that. So there it is. She was just asking me if I got it. So there it is. Oh, I'm very excited about this. Thank you very much, Esther. I love that shit. I love reading books about people getting cut up. That's not weird at all. Did she go out?
No, she put the collar on, and then she goes up to the door and looks outside and goes, nah. Probably too hot.
Probably too hot outside.
Yeah.
Plus, it's also not dark.
Yeah. When it gets dark, she'll go.
She
Because she does this a couple times, you know, a night. She'll like, let's go outside.
Oh, and now
says,
she's
"No,
coming
not
back
ready."
in here.
Yeah, and that's coming back in.
What's she doing? Oh
okay,
my
you got another
goodness.
super chat, $5 from Victor Garcia. It says, Jenny, start a book club.
I thought about it.
Yeah.
I thought about doing like read along. Somebody asked me, like somebody put in one of the comments on one of the video like book review videos that they want to do a buddy read for House of Leaves. So I may actually kind of do that. I've read House of Leaves before, like several years ago, but I'm gonna reread it at some point for the show. But House of Leaves is one of those books where you really gotta like fucking commit. Because it's one, it's long, and two, it's like super, super complex.
Got another super chat. Tila sent $5. Another one.
Thank you.
Best character arcs in horror. Okay, so that's okay.
Ooh, best
I vote for
character.
Clarice and the Silence of the Lambs.
Also,
by the
yeah,
way.
that's great.
She goes, by the way, it's payday for me. Ha ha. ha. Thank you very much, Tila, for the $5. Tila, is that actually you in that little thumbnail, or is that just some random ebony supermodel that you picked? That doesn't look like a real person.
That doesn't look like a real person.
Yeah.
No one's that pretty.
No one's that pretty. And then, yeah, she goes, then T says, a book club would be fun.
It would actually.
Yeah.
And I do kind of feel like a lot of other book review channels have that. Maybe I should start doing that. Maybe I could do it on Patreon or something.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. Maybe just so you guys could like read the same books as me and we could like talk about them. I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
David says Jason Long in Tusk. Can't get into it without spoilers, but the only survives because he does what he has to do. It's a story arc. Somebody sent us Tusk. We have to watch that again.
Yeah, that's
I like that movie.
That's a messed up movie.
I like that movie. It's weird. Really weird and disturbing. I liked it.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. It's Kevin Smith, so it's one of those ones you're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. Because I know a lot of people really hated like yoga hosers and that kind of shit. But
T told me to rely on my imagination. She's rely on your imagination, Tom. Ha ha ha. And Tammy comes back. Maybe Tila is an ebony supermodel.
yeah, did you ever think of that?
Yeah,
Somebody's
yeah,
gonna be in that picture.
Come in.
I'm trying to think, like really good. Oh man, good character arc. I kind of feel like there are. There are a lot of good ones in horror movies because it's usually, although I kind of feel like usually it's sort of like weakling person. Maybe, you know what? I'm going to say maybe Nancy in Nightmare on Elm Street. Because I really like how she starts out just kind of this regular person and then she just kind of like turns into this like badass trap making.
T says you never know who's up in these chats.
It's true.
And then Victor Garcia says y'all need to still watch Border. It's weird like that.
Okay, see?
Border.
Weird movies.
Yeah.
I'm all about the weird movies. I love that shit.
All right. Just remind us, man. We'll see.
Tom likes weird stuff, sort of, in a way.
Depends on what it is.
Depends on how it's weird.
Yeah.
I just kind of like weird for the sake. I like all kind of weird.
It has to have impact.
Yeah.
Tusk was fucking weird. Human Centipede was fucking weird. I liked it. It disturbed me though. I never could get through Centipede 2. I'd get about 20 minutes into it and get bored.
Yeah, I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I didn't love the first one either, but I was like, well, at least it's a clever idea.
I was like, what? Well, it's kind of like fucking...
Yay, mouth pooping.
It's kind of like disgusting, you know what I mean? Like, no, he's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. Oh, he did that? Oh, yeah. It's like that. Well,
it's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of like, I don't mind those kind of movies, and like sometimes they're entertaining, but then in some ways I kind of feel like if you're going so far, it's like, look how fucking gross and disgusting this is. I kind of feel like there's a line there where it's just kind of like, you know, stunt movie making, like edgelordy.
T says Chief Brody in Jaws. That's a great arc in Jaws.
Oh, also that's also
yeah. Matter of fact, I just mentioned. I think I mentioned that last time. I don't know if you were here, T. I want to get a really good edition of Jaws.
We need like special
Blu-ray.
edition Jaws.
Yeah. Because I've seen the movie several times. I always liked it, but I'll put that right there with like Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It's a movie that you grew up with that you liked. You know what I mean? So you want a real good version of that on hard copy, so you can fucking pop that bitch in there and watch it. It's kind of a comfort movie, you know.
I mean, I don't know, man. Jaws is so good. It's like the perfect blockbuster movie. It's like perfect.
Yeah.
And honestly, maybe it's because I'm like fucking terrified of sharks. So maybe that's why it really like kind of hit that sweet spot more. But it's just like everything about it is like really well constructed. Oh, that's another movie that I think was better than the book. Right there. I read Jaws by Peter Benchley. It's a decent book, but there's a lot of like random ass subplots that really don't need to be in there. Like the whole thing about like the wife having the affair and shit like that, it didn't need to be in there. So I think that the movie is actually better than the book. There, I said it.
Rick Shaw says, I have Jaws on Blu-ray and it looks stunning. David June says, I really can't look forward enough to see how Tom reacts to Thanksgiving this fall.
Yeah. Because you sent us that, but it's like we're gonna save it for Thanksgiving.
We're save it for Thanksgiving.
We're gonna do it for Thanksgiving.
T says Jaws is an incredibly made movie, very effective. If you can get folks so scared of the beach to get in the water, then it's effective. Yeah,
so good.
Yeah.
What
are you doing? You can't go in there. That's not outside.
She's like, but
she didn't give a shit about it. I don't care. It's not outside. Okay.
But I just want it open.
Yeah. You want to go inside? Okay. She wagged her tail. She
looks at you and her little tail wags.
She's like, yeah.
You want to go in a closet?
Yeah.
She's like, oh.
Going into the closet.
It's disappointing.
Yeah. There's nothing there, folks.
You knew it was going to be like that.
Yeah.
The light changes because we have a light bouncing out the closet door, so when we open it, it's like not. Yeah. So, so like I said, Jaws, one of the best movies. And like I said, because I think Zach mentioned earlier, or somebody asked me earlier, like,
put some more ice in this. You need any more ice?
No, I'm right. Okay. A movie that was better than the book. That's another one. Jaws was better than the book. Peter Benchley also wrote The Deep. And I remember reading that book, and I saw the movie too, but the movie didn't really make much of an impression. Remember Jacqueline Bisset was in it? Who the fuck else was in that? I don't remember. I didn't love it. It was just, I don't even remember. Wasn't it like fucking buried treasure or pirates or shit, man? I don't even remember now. Because I was excited. I thought it was going to be about like fucking scary sea monsters again. Okay. Like Jaws was.
She asked, what's the best character arc? I'm going to say, if it involves multiple movies, I'd say Luke Skywalker. Best story arc.
Although it's not horror, but...
Well, was it horror that she asked for?
Yeah.
Okay. Then they're not that. Then.
So never mind.
Okay, then the best story arc would be Reggie from fucking.
Oh, good choice.
Yeah, Reggie from what's it called Phantasm series. The whole series, yeah.
We still haven't done. We did Phantasm 1 and we did Phantasm 2, I think. And remember, we said we were going to do a video of 3, 4, and 5 because those are all like totally worth watching. But I don't think we ever did it.
She asked if you've seen Orca. I've never seen it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love Orca.
Is it good? No.
Well,
yes and no.
Honestly, you know, when when we were talking about 70s when animals attack movies.
Yeah.
Orca was probably my other than Jaws, obviously, but that was probably one of my favorite ones of the time period. Although I also love Empire of the Ants and Kingdom of the Spiders.
Yeah.
Grizzly is okay. I actually just rewatched Grizzly the other day, and it was all right. But
Gadgy3 sent 5 pounds in a super chat. Daisy died. You. I'm drunk and not crying. Don't worry about it, bro.
Oh no.
Daisy became one with the Force.
Man, don't let me out like that.
Yeah, just how it happened.
I don't like that.
Go listen to that Queen song. You know, what's it? Do you want to live forever? Or what's it called? Nothing lives forever. and have Freddie Mercury sing you a fucking song.
I don't know, man. I think that just make me feel worse.
He'll have his teeth. Wants to live forever. Yeah. It'll probably make you sad.
Shit, yeah. I would probably get that.
Yeah.
Gilded Age Phoenix says Teeth is also a cool movie. I agree. I really like that movie. It was about I don't think you saw it. It's about a girl with a vagina dentata.
Yeah, I heard about it. I think
so she goes around like chopping people's dicks off with her badge, as you would.
I think one of the most underrated horror movies in recent years was that horror movie called Underwater. That was basically an Alien ripoff. I liked that movie. It had that girl from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I guess, right?
No, she wasn't in Buffy.
What was she from?
She was in Twilight.
Twilight. Yeah. So people didn't want to see it, I guess.
Kristen Stewart.
Yeah. But that's a good movie.
Although she was in that movie that was about the Runaways, right?
I don't know, but I got that movie right next
She
to.
played Joan Jett.
I got that movie. I got that movie right next to like Alien and you know, the whole Alien series. It's like that. And Blade Runner. It's almost kind of like it's from that universe.
Yeah,
I liked it.
They actually did a good job with like not complicating it with a bunch of stuff, and I like that they kind of just like started with the action like almost right out the gate, and like just kind of kept it going. You know, like here's like this shitty thing that happened, and then it's getting even shittier, and it's getting even worse, and so the stakes kept going up and up. And
you're
up,
way
like,
underneath the goddamn water, and then there's like good characters in it, and they're all young and shit, working on this underwater rig, and it's like it's in outer space, and then you get to the very end of it. There's all kinds of weird shit happen. You get to the end of it, and you realize that wait a minute, hold on, Cthulhu.
Pretty much.
Cthulhu?
Yeah,
Is that what we're talking about here?
Cthulhu, yeah.
We're talking about fucking elder gods, eldritch gods, and shit.
Lovecraftian and shit.
Yeah, you know, and it's right there with like Alien and Blade Runner and Prometheus. It's got that motif to it. It's like something that Ridley Scott would have come up with. Quite cool. I don't know if they'll make another one.
I think one of the best things about it was the characters. I mean, I actually liked even the comic relief guy, like the guy with the stuffed bunny that was like trying to protect the stuffed bunny the whole time. That dude was a fucking riot. Yeah. And like when he got killed, spoiler alert, pretty much everybody gets killed in this movie. When he got killed, I was like super bummed out. So that's the thing. Like I actually cared about the characters. When they died, I was like bummed out about it.
And then another one in recent years that I think was better than all the new Star Wars movies, and fucking, it was a good movie that didn't really get any play. I liked it. Alita Battle Angel. I fucking loved it.
Yeah, it was alright.
I loved it.
It was alright.
I just wanted more of it.
Yeah.
It was a good opening movie.
Yeah.
For that, you know, because it established that character, and then you find out that character isn't what you thought it was.
Yeah.
You know, there's more to it. And so I was wanting more. I was like, okay, all right, that's the character. What's going to happen now? You know, and that would make a great Disney series. Doesn't Disney own that?
Oh, you know, they may. So it might actually go that route.
That's what I would do with it.
I kind of feel like most stuff that's real like universe building like that is probably, I mean, the better format for it probably is
a series. And you see, you have the technology, and Disney has the money to do that as a series right alongside Mandalorian and all the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
Is to do a really good manga, you know, series. You'd have to have the right people writing it, but that'd be fucking great.
Well, that's true of anything.
Yeah. With the same, what's her name? No, not Rosario Dawson. What's that woman's name that played Alita?
Oh shit, I can't remember.
What's her name? Some of you guys might remember, but I thought she was great in that. In that, and I liked the fucking CG, the distorted CG faces, like you were looking at a live action manga. You know, I just thought it was cool.
We saw that like 3 times in the theater, didn't we?
Yeah, saw it like 3 times, and then I have it on Blu-ray.
That's right.
And it was like, I understand what they did with the script and how they manipulated you into caring about the character. You know what I mean? They did all the tricks that you do.
Yeah.
But I understood it, but that's the kind of shit that you need nowadays. You know, it was. Yeah, some people would say that, well, that's, you know, by the book, and you're not. It's not all that sophisticated. You don't need that kind of sophistication to start a series. It actually simply.
Well, it's more like it's everybody knows that you're doing that, but it's just kind of like how effectively can you do it?
Can you do it right?
If you fuck it up, then it'll be too obvious, and then you'll just piss people off. You know?
No, I saw right through it. They're trying to get you to fucking have sympathy and care about that character, but I did.
But you didn't.
Yeah, I did. Like I know what you're doing. And they're trying to make you think. They're trying to let you know that this is a good-hearted character with a mysterious background, and then you find out later that she's like an elite combat cyborg, or an elite. She's not even a cyborg. She's a robot, isn't she? I don't think there was anything.
Essentially.
I don't think there was anything biological about her. And but I thought it was fucking cool, man. I wanted to see more.
Well, maybe someday you'll get your wish.
I've heard
Maybe.
they're saying that there are rumors that there might be a series.
I mean, shit, man. They've made series out of stuff that was a lot less successful than that. So
Yeah.
I don't really see why they wouldn't.
I also recently said that it was a lot more successful than that a lot of people in the industry wanted to admit. That it made back all of its money and it made the profit. It's just it took longer to do it than they wanted. But that it did build a fan base during that. But there, for some reason, that's not the one that they wanted. They wanted Brie Larson and fucking what is it, Captain Marvel. And that's they wanted that to succeed.
Sorry, I'm like bummed out about
What you bummed out about?
Gadget talking about
Oh,
Daisy, the cat. Man, that's a bummer.
yeah.
I'm bummed out. I don't like to think about it. I don't like to think about it because I don't know what I would do if something happened to Pokey. But, you know,
Yeah.
I'm just trying not to think about it. Because, you know, she's like our kid in a lot of ways. You're like ahead of me, probably. Yeah?
Yeah, way ahead.
You're way ahead of me.
Yeah.
But at least it hasn't like fucking. It's given me a lot of trouble, but it hasn't like shut down completely.
No need for me. He says he's been an Alita fan since the fucking 80s, watching the manga.
Yeah, I liked the movie. Like it just
Yeah.
you know, I thought it was pretty good.
The author died, though,
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
I guess. And he said the movie was that all of it, the manga too. I guess he's saying it was done with like love.
Which that's kind of what you got to do, man. Well, that's what we were saying earlier about whether you're making a movie, you know, if it's what you want to make.
Maniac says I need to watch Blood Vessel. Yeah, you'll like Blood Vessel. Blood Vessel was cool. I liked
liked
it.
Blood Vessel a lot. Actually.
Watched Blood Machine on Sunday with stimulating both visually, both audioly and visually, plus boobs. Yeah, you know, I said it before. Blood Machine was a fucking great little series. I'd like to have more of that. It did feel a very fucking heavy metal magazine, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
I liked it. And it was kind of like a new direction for sci-fi. They need to do more of that. Just saying, the way it looked and the way it sounded, it was like watching a music video and a cartoon and a space opera. And then it had some weird misogyny type shit going on where the men were using women as machines or something. It had that kind of stuff. Pretty neat.
Yeah, it was super cool.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I said, it gave me a little bit of a Mandy vibe too.
Yeah, a
because
little
of
bit
that
like
kinda,
Mandy.
Like, yeah, because of that kind of like visual, you know, that visual orgasm type of thing.
Yeah,
That they had
visually
going
was fucking stunning, and everything was very unique about it, including like the weapon fire. He'd fire off that gun, and the fucking the ray would stay there for a long period of time, burning in the air. That shit was fucking awesome, man.
Wonder if they're ever gonna like do any more of those.
I don't
Probably.
know.
I mean, you know.
Well, I think that particular story is done.
Yeah.
They need to do more in that same universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll see.
I think that particular story is mostly done.
I mean, like I said, I'm kind of digging the way that people just can kind of make something that looks like that for practically nothing.
Yeah, it's a new era.
Well, yeah. Well, like I said, that's fucking rad because you can.
Ridiculous.
I
Yeah.
mean, you can kind of like realize your vision.
Yeah, on basically a budget.
Yeah, on
It's
like
great.
nothing.
That visually, Blood Machines was way ahead of the old Dino De Laurentiis fucking Flash Gordon, but tonally it kind of reminded me of that in a certain way. You know what I mean? Not really. No, it reminded me of that in how intrepid it was in terms of fucking artistic expression. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could take that kind of technology and come out with a Flash Gordon that would be fucking bizarre, like an acid trip, and be a mixture of what you saw in the old cartoons and the Dino movie and what you saw in Blood Machines mixed in with some shit like out of heavy metal, like a certain element of like eroticism that the movies had, and you would have a fucking amazing series, Flash Gordon series.
And the thing is that if you put sex and drugs in Flash Gordon, then that you're not bullshitting. You're not fucking around with the story, because that was in the original stories.
Yeah.
You go back to those old fucking 1930s serials, there was